Oh, that looks like it's working, I think. Can you guys hear me? Doth my ears deceive me? Or is my audio, the microphone now actually coming through? Yes? Okay, cool. So yeah, I guess to explain that, my computer decided to fuck me over the other night. Because obviously The Little Mermaid double feature premiered today. Which, shout out to those of you who watched it start to finish. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And the editing of it took place over the bulk of the editing, I should say, took about 2 days, start to finish. 2 very long work days, but most of the time that it took to create that actually went into the copyright aspect, as it usually does. So for the last couple nights, I've been staying up into the wee hours of the morning, getting no sleep, trying desperately to get it through copyright, because I wanted to get it out yesterday, because yesterday was the actual anniversary of the film's release in 1989. So I was trying to make it for the anniversary. That did not happen. But, you know, 1 day later isn't the end of the world. But because I was, during the process of staying up so late trying to constantly re-render the video and re-upload it and test it for copyright, one of those times my computer said, you know what, fuck you, and it restarted and installed a bunch of Windows updates. And one of those updates completely broke the audio on my computer, just beyond repair. So it was a whole process to try to figure out what was going on with drivers and installations and to get it back on track. I thought I fixed it all. Clearly I didn't, because OBS wasn't detecting anything. But, looks like we're all good. If I need to turn up the game audio, or my microphone audio, do let me know, and I can change that as well. I'll turn it up, it might be a little quiet. I'll turn the game up a little bit. And if it's too loud or too quiet once I get into the game itself, let me know and I can make further adjustments. I think audio should be good for the time being, though. So that's that. But yeah. Hi! Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. Welcome to the celebration stream of Dragon's Lair 3D's 21-year anniversary. Yes, Little Mermaid and Dragon's Lair 3D do, in fact, share this anniversary. Crazy as it may be to believe. So yeah, that's the plan. We're gonna, now that we've just celebrated how terrible the Little Mermaid remake was, now we're gonna celebrate something good and actually play what is, for those of you who don't know, this is my all-time favorite game. Most people don't know it exists, so every year I make it a habit to either play through this game in the form of a Let's Play or stream it on the channel to both so I can play it and have a good time, but also to try to bring more attention to it for those of you who have never heard of it before. So that's what we're gonna do today. Just gonna jump right in and play a brand new game. Your favorite game is Cuphead. Cuphead is in my top 5. My top 5 games are Dragon's Lair 3D, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, Halo 3, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations, and then Cuphead is number 5. Those are my top 5. I doubt I doubt that's ever gonna change. My top 10, I didn't think would ever change, but recently I played some stuff that's challenging that a little bit, but the top 5 is pretty much set in stone, unless something really, really blows me away. At least I uploaded the video without the copyright fucking me over 300 times. Yeah, you know, that's something. I got it uploaded in a reasonable manner. I mean, it still isn't, it's never fun. It's the thing I hate most about doing YouTube is, if you finish the video, you're like, I did it, I'm done, I edited everything, I got everything set in stone, all the ducks are in a line, I'm done, I can go take a break, and then you upload it, and then it tells you, actually, no, you can't, you gotta fix all this stuff first. And by fix all the stuff, I mean, you will fix this one thing, you will re-render it, and then I'll tell you another thing to fix, and I will only ever tell you one thing per render to make you hate this as much as is humanly possible. So yeah, that was kind of what it was like. Not the grandest of experiences, but at least compared to the Owl House video, yeah, I got it done in like 2 or 3 days worth of copyright fixing, as opposed to it's been done since the Owl House video has been done since like September, and it still isn't through copyright. Super Mario RPG. Oh yeah, that's another thing that happened yesterday. Super Mario RPG. I forgot about that, actually. Oh, and also Persona 5 Tactica. Yesterday was a big day, apparently. Anniversary of Dragon's Lair, anniversary of Little Mermaid, release of Super Mario RPG, release of Persona 5 Tactica. I haven't played either of those last 2 things, but I've heard they're good. Or I haven't actually heard much discussion about Mario RPG, but I have heard plenty of talk about Persona 5 Tactica. Let's see. Favorite game is Sonic Unleashed. A lot of people have many positive things to say about Sonic Unleashed. And I certainly had fun with it. Not a fan of the medal system at all. Not a fan of most of the end game. But overall, it's a fun time. Smash Ultimate is your favorite game? See, I've never been a big Smash player, or I guess just fighting games in general have never been my forte. So, I don't have that particularly strong feelings towards Smash. But if you are a fan of fighting games, and Smash Ultimate is like the definitive. Although I say that, and then I'm like, actually, I think I'm kind of lying to myself because I have had a lot of fun playing Brawlhalla with Brooks over the years. And that is a fighting game in the style of Smash, so I guess I can't say I don't like fighting games, but they're not my preferred style of game. And also, were it not for Brooks, I would not have played Brawlhalla. I only really play that because it's a game that he plays. Similar, I hate using this as an example because it's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's kind of like in middle school where the only reason why I ever played Call of Duty was because my friends were playing Call of Duty. Obviously, that's a different thing because Call of Duty actually sucks, whereas at least Brawlhalla is still good, even if it's not that type of game is my cup of tea. But it's the same kind of thing where I'm more interested in playing what my friends are playing as opposed to the game itself being something that I'm interested in. Favorite game is Undertale. Undertale is in my top 10 as well. Love, love, love Undertale. Cutscenes being animated like the arcade games is cool. Yes. I mean, I like the style of the game anyway, like this little sort of cell-shaded art style that the main game has going for it. But it is nice to have some good old-fashioned classic Don Bluth 2D animated cutscenes for the big moments. What makes Desert Truck Chase best scene in a movie? I assume you're referring to Raiders of the Lost Ark, in which case a lot of it has to do with the editing and how it's all strung together. A lot of it has to do with obviously John Williams' score, but also with just the choreography and the constant back and forth battle of how, like, it's Indy versus the world of having him try to get inside that truck and secure the Ark when he's just on a horse facing off against like an entire armada of trucks going down the line, and how he goes from the horse inside the truck to on the hood of the truck to going underneath the truck to then climbing back into the truck from the other side. The escalation of that battle is hypnotic to watch every time. What would I say to a Dragon's Lair game? I'd say I think I'm playing one right now. But if you mean another one, then I would love to see this game get remade. Because there are some things about it that I think might be, well, I know would be a turnoff to people who've never played it before, because I've shown this game to, I've had people play this game, and there are certain elements, like the lack of an autosave, that would be turnoffs to modern players. And if you remade this game and just fixed a couple of those things, then it would be just, it would be a runaway hit. So I would love, love, love to see this game get remade. And if it were, I mean, it never, let me clear, it's a pipe dream. It's never actually going to get remade because the company, the development team that made this game went out of business a long time ago, which is unfortunate. But if in some hypothetical dream universe this were to get remade, I would love to see it. Although I don't really know what they're interested in doing with the Dragon's Lair IP. I think the last major release from Dragon's Lair LLC was the trilogy port for the Switch, which wasn't exactly... I can't earnestly say that the Switch is the definitive way to experience the original Dragon's Lair games, because the Wii port was a lot better, had a lot more style in terms of how the games were laid out, how you could access them, and the way in which... I think I talked about this in an LP a while ago when I played through the trilogy. There's just a lot of little really small things that make it not the definitive way to experience those games. It also really bugs me that it's called the Dragon's Lair trilogy, even though it's 2 Dragon's Lair games and then 1 Space Ace game that has nothing to do with Dragon's Lair. That kind of annoys me. But, you know, it's what I guess it's just to get more people to care about Space Ace, since it is in the same, it's essentially Dragon's Lair in space in terms of it's the exact same style of game, exact same animation style, the exact same people working on it. It's just, it's not Dragon's Lair 3. Now granted, the actual Dragon's Lair 3 is just a version of this game I'm playing right now that is in the style of the original 2 Dragon's Lair arcade games, which sucks. So, I mean, I would not have preferred that go on the disc instead, but it's still, like, still not Dragon's Dogma 3. Anyway. Your favorite game is Mega Man 3. Aged poorly, but you love everything else about it. I have never played Mega Man, but I know lots and lots of people love it. I think the most I know about Mega Man is that, I think Scott Cawthon, creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, for those who don't know. Not that, I don't know there's anyone here that doesn't know that, but just in case. I believe he said that that's one of the games he played a lot when he was younger, and still, maybe not when he was younger, but a game he continually plays a lot to this day. And I'm pretty sure that served as the inspiration for the Freddy in Space games. All three of them. The one in FNAF World, the one that was done for the Game Theorist St. Jude stream, and then the one that was done as a troll game for the release of the movie last month. But as for actually playing them, I've never played them. Binding of Isaac Repentance. I've heard a lot of good things about Binding of Isaac. I just haven't actually... That's another one I just haven't played. Your favorite's a tie between FNAF World and Trials and Tribulations. So, while I would never defend FNAF World as one of the best things ever made, I would still come to its defense against the people who say it's like the worst thing ever. Because I think the backlash that FNAF World got was massively blown out of proportion. Now, when it first launched, yeah, it was annoying that we didn't get the full 3D overworld, and it was inexcusable that ships, bites, and attacks didn't have descriptions, and that you couldn't view what moves the characters had in the party selection screen. Things like that are like, yeah, that should have been there, and that's kind of an oversight that they weren't. But it's good that they were eventually added, and not even eventually, I think it was like less than a month after the game first came out that all those things were added in, which felt like a long time at the time, but now in today's era, living with some games that take forever to actually get fixed, it's like a godsend. And then Update 2 came out and made it even better. And I have a very, very warm place in my heart for FNAF World. And of course, Trials and Tribulations is spectacular. Okay, let's see how long it takes me to get through this. The answer is second try. Okay, well, let's not fling ourselves into the gap. Playing Persona 4 Go and liking it a lot. I feel like people tell me, because I've heard backlash against the Golden version of Persona 4 and how the original is the preferred way to play Golden. I feel like people tell me why, and I never actually retain the answer because I'm not that interested in Persona 4 as a whole. But I know some people have said that Golden isn't the best way to experience that game. Thoughts on Inside Out 2, the trailer didn't really show me anything that I didn't already know, that being, oh look, she has more emotions this time. So it's like, all the same fears I had before I saw the trailer have persisted after I watched the trailer. Have I heard of the completionist drama? Vaguely, but I don't know that much specifically, so I'm not gonna really make any, like, the most I know about it is that I think he was accused of pocketing charity money, and that's as far as my knowledge goes of it, so I don't want to say anything definitively until without knowing more specific details. I don't want to cast any aspersions or come to anyone's defense without knowing the full thing, which I don't. I only know, like, the high-level basics of what the situation is. Your favorite game has to be Battle for Bikini Bottom. Yep, that's up. The only thing that really holds that game back is the boss fights and Mr. Krabs' grinding spatulas. But much like you, I also... Oh! Okay, let's not get sorted by these guys, please. I also have very, very fond memories of playing that game with my parents as a kid, and just by myself. The satisfaction in conquering the kelp slide and the final battle for the first time were quite compelling. SA2 is your third favorite game. You still enjoy it? That is totally fine. You are more than welcome to enjoy it as much as you want. I can't, but I know a lot of people do, and that is totally fine. Do I know the month is also the 60th anniversary of Galaxy and the 10th anniversary of 3D World? 3D World I didn't know. I am not very familiar with 3D Worlds because I don't care that much about it, so I didn't know when it came out. But I did know about Galaxy, and I posted a link in the server about how it was celebrating its anniversary very recently, which is insane to think about how old that game is, yet it still holds up remarkably well. Okay, where were we? Ah, yes. Wave defense against the Knights. What do I say to a Dragon's Lair movie? Well, they're making a Dragon's Lair movie starring Ryan Reynolds, and I have such little faith in it, it's almost unbelievable. But, of course, I'm gonna watch it, because I've been following this franchise since I was crawling around, it feels like, since I was an infant. So, of course, I'm gonna check it out, but I'm not expecting great things, especially not with Ryan Reynolds as the star, my god. But also, I haven't heard anything about that in, like, years, it feels like. I think the last time I heard about it was, like, late 2021, around the time that Free Guy was coming out. But I really don't know what the current status of that project is. Why is Indy ever as well Dark anticlimactic? Because Indy himself is just kind of, like, there for it. He doesn't really take any executive action to bring about the demise of the Nazis. But more than that, the bigger thing is that it's just after the big climactic confrontation on Ark Island, the movie wraps up very, very quickly. I should have had my sword ready when I jumped over here. In that it's like it feels like less than 3 minutes after, maybe even less than 2 minutes after they open the Ark. They speed through the denouements back at the college, wrapping up the thing with the government agents and where the Ark is going, and then the warehouse shot and Indy and Marion on the steps. What was previously a very tightly and very naturally, smoothly paced film suddenly kicks it up to 11 at the absolute last minute, which I'm never a fan of it. I mean, it's still a phenomenal film, but I really wish the ending was this is a mistake. This is a death is what this is. I have no health. Alright, let's give this a shot. Okay, that's 2 of them. Give me health, please. Okay, health potion, please and thank you. Thoughts on Don Bluth's movies? I haven't actually watched them. Outside of I'm only familiar with his work on Dragon's Lair and Space Ace, like Secret of Nim. That was him, right? Secret of Nim. I feel like that name. I associate the name of Secret of Nim in my mind with Don Bluth, but I've not seen any of his movies outside of the stuff he's done with Rick Dyer, Gary Goldman, and John Pomeroy on the Dragon's Lair and everything. Oh, okay. Let's not look at chat right now, please. Let's do that. Then I will read chat. What would I like to see in Cloudy 3 if it ever happened? I know this is a cop-out answer, but I wouldn't want to see a Cloudy 3, so I don't really have any aspirations for what I would like to see in it. I mean, it never should have... It shouldn't have gone past the first movie, honestly, but at least... Once I don't like the second movie, it at least leaves the characters in a nice place. Because, like, the one thing I could say about the first movie that I'm not big on is kind of similar to what I said about Raiders, in that it doesn't really end in that satisfying. Like, yes, the characters win the day and everything, and they save Swallow Falls, or Chew and Swallow, if you will. But then they're just kind of left in the rubble and the destruction that has been brought about by the machine. I do like that Cloudy 2 puts the characters in a better place than that by the ending, as far as moving forward into the future. But on that note, I mean, that doesn't justify the existence of the movie, because you can still have it be like, we saved the day and now we will clean up after this. And whereas the rest of the second movie is just vapid nonsense. But beyond the ending of the second movie, there's nowhere left I have any aspirations of seeing where they would take the characters beyond that point. Okay, let's not fall off, please. That was way closer than it should have been. Mana potion, please and thank you. Let's see. You playing through the Mega Man games? Currently the 8th game, recommend I give them a shot. I'm not sure if I'd like them. I think I've heard mixed things as to whether I would enjoy the Mega Man games or not. If there anything like the Mega Man knockoffs that are in FNAF World that Scott has made, then maybe. But I don't know how accurate that is to the actual Mega Man games. You don't think I like those brutally hard? Yeah, that's the thing. I've heard some people recommend them to me. Some people say you would hate them if you played them. Have I played any Angry Birds games? Yes. Angry Birds was my go-to game. I had a lot of games on mobile that I would play as a kid whenever my parents took me out to restaurants, which I hated going to restaurants as a kid, and I still don't really. Unless I'm going with friends, I really don't like going to restaurants. But when I was at restaurants as a kid, I would always play games on the iPad to pass the time, and my go-to ones, I had a couple, like the room games on mobile were ones I would go to a lot, but the the most common was the Angry Birds games. Mainly the first one, Seasons, and the Rio game. I didn't like Space, I didn't like Star Wars, I never played Angry Birds 2, and I know that there's probably more that I haven't played, but those are the big three. The first one, Seasons, and then Rio. So I have played them, and I haven't played them in a very long time. I think it's actually been like over 10 years since I've last touched an Angry Birds game, but I know I loved them as a kid. And in fact, I actually bought for one, I don't know if it was my birthday or Christmas, but they got me, not a board game of Angry Birds, but like a thing where you could, it was a physical set you could buy where you could stack up the blocks and the pigs like an actual Angry Birds level, and then you would have a slingshot you could sling back and release the Angry Birds and knock them over. So that was pretty fun. But haven't played them in a very, very long time. Thoughts on Frozen 3 and 4? It's surprising that they are doing, I mean, I guess it's not surprising from a financial perspective that they're doing Frozen 3 and 4, but Frozen 2, I mean, narratively speaking, like, whenever I'm like, why are they doing another one of these, the go-to response is obviously, you could say, well, obviously the reason why they're doing another one is for money, which, like, yeah, of course, there's a financial incentive to make more of a popular IP like that. But whenever I am questioning the existence of another entry in a franchise like that, I'm always appealing to it from a narrative perspective. Like, I know that they want to make more money, but I assume that people have a little more artistic integrity than that. That there's some level of, I would like to think, at least, naive as it may be, that there's some level of artistic integrity in the world, and that there's a desire for things to end and not just drag on forever. And Frozen 2's ending, for as much of a mess as that film is, the ending feels very definitive in terms of where Anna and Elsa end up in their respective places. So it's strange. I don't know what they can possibly do, because, like, the first end, you don't need to go any further than the first Frozen movie, but you could. There are things you could do. It's left nice and open in that regard. Frozen 2, I don't know what, I have no clue where he just jumped right off the edge there. I have no idea what is going to become of them beyond that point. And then now, I guess the bigger point of discussion is, why is there a Frozen 4 announced before Frozen 3 is even out? If I want to go super good faith, I could say, well, maybe it's going to be a two-parter thing where they'll make the first part, which is Frozen 3, and then that's going to be the first part of a two-part story, kind of like Spider-Verse or Infinity War and Endgame. But, like, that's given a lot of good faith to Disney in that regard. And I'm not at all confident that's actually going to be why there's a fourth one announced before 3 is even... I'd be surprised if 3 is any further than early pre-production at this point. But that's also part of what makes me wonder, is it going to be a two-parter, that because they're in pre-production, they're thinking, like, we have an idea for a story, but it's going to take 2 movies, so let's announce another movie. But, like, my immediate question to myself would be, but why wouldn't they announce that when they announced Frozen 4 then, to explain why they're going to be 2, or there's going to be 2 more being made?
Be careful.
I don't know, we'll have to wait and see.
Traps released.
You bought Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated on Steam, you're liking it so far? I like Rehydrated. I loved Rehydrated when I first played it, and I can still play it and enjoy it, no problem, because it's still, the core of the game is still intact. it's a mostly faithful remake, and what changes it made are usually for the better. I loved it when it first came out, and I was even questioning whether it was better than the original. As time has gone on, I've discovered more things about it that I'm not super big on, and that I really wish weren't. And there's a lot of, I mean, there's some major things, like the fact that the game has to reload the level every time you die, and it restarts the music, and it doesn't seamlessly spawn you back in like it did in the original. There's some big things that stand out even on the first playthrough. But there's a lot of really small idiosyncrasies in the controls and the camera that really add up, that maybe the average person wouldn't notice, but someone who's played the original extensively, like what probably amounts to a total of thousands of hours at this point, those things stick out to me like a sore thumb. So over time I've soured on Rehydrated slightly, but I still respect it, and I still do have a lot of appreciation for the game, both because fundamentally, while it is no replacement for the original, it's still a fun game to play. I have a lot of respect for it just because of what it's done optically for the SpongeBob video game brand, because SpongeBob is not well known for making particularly exceptional video games. A lot of the SpongeBob game output is rather crap. Battle for Bikini Bottom is the exception, not the rule, when it comes to SpongeBob video games. So it made me happy to see Rehydrated get overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, and even outside of a critical perspective, I'm happy it okay, I did not mean to swing the camera around that much. I'm happy it exists so that people who, because the original game isn't very easily accessible anymore because it's never been ported to anything. It was only on the original Xbox, PS2, and GameCube. So for anyone who doesn't currently have a way to access those systems through one way or another, Rehydrated allowed them a means to which to relive their childhood with freshened up HD graphics, and that's probably a huge reason why it was loved so much. And for that reason, I have a lot of respect for it, even if it doesn't hold up to the original that well when you really take the time to. I'm actually considering. I never like to make promises in this anymore because I don't like making promises I can't keep, and so much happens with scheduling in life that just gets in the way of committing to release schedules for me. But a video that I would like to make one day, and I have taken copious amounts of notes on, is a video comparing the original to Rehydrated, because there's a lot of things that I just don't. I mean, there's stuff that everyone talks about that's just kind of apparent on the surface, like how oversaturated some of the levels are, namely Goo Lagoon. Goo Lagoon is way too bright. Like, it's pretty, but it's also, the sand is almost blinding with how bright it is, as opposed to the more muted color palettes of the original Goo Lagoon. And you can say that maybe it's a little too muted in the original, but that doesn't mean you need to massively overcorrect in the other direction for the remake. And there's a lot of stuff, smaller things that add up, sort of a death by 1,000 cuts thing that really annoy me about the remake that I think I would like to dive into in greater detail one day if I ever get the chance to. Are you the only one who doesn't like the first SpongeBob movie? I haven't checked chat in a while, so I don't know if there's anyone else who doesn't like it, but I am quite fond of the original SpongeBob movie. Do I have a favorite Dragon's Lair character? Probably Dirk, just because watching him bumble through environments is quite comedic, and obviously the animators do a lot of great work with his facial expressions to sell him as the valiant and noble, yet still quite inexperienced knight. Please don't be a thing above me. Okay. Gotta chill here for a little bit. Slow and steady wins the race. Never mind, we're gonna go for it. Oh boy. Why so little faith? Video game movies are much better than they used to be. Well, part of it is because Ryan Reynolds, is not the right choice for Dirk at all. And part of it is just because Dragon's Lair is not a game that is particularly well. I just don't. First of all, I'm not super big on the idea. I mean, they're better than they used. Video game movies are better than they used to be, yes, but they're still not like Uh-oh. They're still not stellar. And especially with a game like Dragon's Lair, which is probably one of the least suitable for the story, the format of a movie. I'm not optimistic about it at all. One of the reasons you love FNAF World is because you bonded with your friends over it, so it has sentimental value. Yeah, and oh dear, that's part of what I say that people are willing to feel any way about any games that they want, because the quality of the games aside, anyone can have any kind of personal connection to any game for any reason. So yeah, there's a lot of, it's also kind of why, as much as I really hate Call of Duty, I'd be lying if I said I didn't look back on my time with Advanced Warfare fondly. Not because of the game itself, but just because of the memories I made with friends playing it. That was dumb. I shouldn't have. I should have been slow. Should have been slow and steady. Slow and steady would have won the race. I didn't listen to myself. I'm trying to think of other. I mean, I mentioned Brawlhalla earlier, which is quite well made, but is not something that I would play were it not for the times I played with Brooks. And I more so think back on the memories made talking and hanging out with him than anything the game itself has done. Okay, let's save here before doing anything extra fancy. And just go for the jump. Save again. And now we can actually leave this room. Can I make a LEGO Movie 1 and 2 commentary? Perhaps. That is something I would actually like to do. I've recently rewatched both LEGO movies, and yeah, the more I think about LEGO Movie 2, the less I like it. I want to get Neil on board for that, though, because he's super big into LEGO. The two major interests that I knew he had when I first met him outside of video games were LEGO and cars. His first username was Lego2448. So, in fact, one of his projects for school was he built a car out of Legos. I don't remember what the project was. I just know that his project was that he made a custom car by himself, not following instructions on a pre-organized set piece, just out of custom Lego blocks, just assembled it of his own design in his own head. He built his own car, which is cool. So I would want to get him, and I'm pretty sure he and I would sing "Everything Is Awesome" a lot when we were recording stuff in middle school. So I know he thinks very highly of the first. I don't even know if he'd actually seen the second LEGO movie, so that's, for all those reasons, passion for LEGO, passion for the movie, and possibly having not seen the second one, are reasons I'd want to get Neil involved for if we ever did do a LEGO movie double feature. Also, yes, I know I'm far behind in chat, and I'm reading messages from like 10 minutes ago. I apologize, but I don't want to miss anyone's messages, so rather than just let the chat scroll by and never come back to it, I kind of scroll the chat up back to the last place that I read it, and then gradually scroll through until I catch up with everyone. So if I miss your message, don't worry, I'm trying to get to it. But if I don't answer it after a while, you're more than welcome to ask it again. So long as you don't take that to mean spam it every 5 seconds, because that will get on my nerves. But if it's been a while and you haven't heard me respond to it, then no harm in asking it again. But spamming it again and again and again and again ad nauseum is not going to increase the chances of it being seen. Not talking to anyone in particular when I say that, just generally speaking, good rule advice to follow. Thoughts on The Sopranos? Haven't watched it, but I know it's ending, and because I know it's ending, I don't want to watch it. Your brother actually recently bought the remaster of Battle for Bikini Bottom, and you're currently 100%ing into Platinum it. Yeah, I always 100%, whether I'm playing the original or Rehydrated, I always 100% it. Which does mean on Rehydrated grinding for shiny objects, which I'm not a fan of. At least on the original, you can use cheat codes or SBA to grind for shiny objects, but on Rehydrated, neither of those things exist, so you have to just stand on top of the castle in Goo Lagoon, and then activate the tikis, and then jump off the bridge, and then reload, and do that again and again and again. My favorite thing in video games is when you grind for hours on it. Oh, no. Nope, that's a death. So can't say I'm a fan of that. It's really that and the very slow-paced boss fights in the original are what's holding it back from being any higher than number 2 on my list. But here's one thing I'll say about Rehydrated. Rehydrated actually made some of the boss fights better because they sped up the animation of the bosses and just made them feel a lot more frantic and a lot more fast-paced and action-packed than the very slow, drawn-out original boss battles. So that's cool. But it also didn't do anything to fix the worst boss battle, which is the Dutchman fight, which takes forever. So, yeah, I fell off again. I hit the D key when I should have just stood there. Oh boy, yay. Am I gonna watch the Megamind TV series? Probably not, honestly. I have no current plans to. I forgot that it was even happening, actually, until you just said it right now. Ever heard of a game called Huntdown? A cyberpunk-themed 2D run-and-gun game? No, can't say that I have, actually. I could have jumped for the rope there, but I wasn't confident in my alignment, so I wanted to play it safe and wait for it to come back for another round. Even though that put me at risk of being hit by the knights, figure it was better to be safe than sorry. Because we're not in a rush today. Not going for a speedrun world record here. We're just trying to play super casual, so I can take my time to line up some jumps. Although I do wonder if I actually try to speedrun this game, how fast I could, because I'm currently going for all the treasures. I'm going for 100% all because I know where they all are at the back of my head, and I like to 100% games that I know very well whenever I play them. But if I just ignore the treasures and try to get to the beginning to the end as fast as possible, I do wonder how fast I could do it if I was actually trying. Would a dual feature commentary of Dark Knight be possible? Not something we've ever considered. But I mean, I haven't even seen the Nolan's Batman trilogy, but I will be watching them soon because they're a part of Avert's trade list. Do I think Pixar should make a Toy Story 6 and 7? I just want to see what they do with 5 first before we talk about 6 and 7, but I mean, I missed the rope. By that point, Tom Hanks and Tim Allen probably are not going to be in a position to be doing any more Toy Story movies, so I'm going to pass on that one. Did I hear that they are also making a Toy Story 5? Oh, I sure did. I made a whole video about it back in February. And I seem to be, like, the only person on planet Earth that is even remotely optimistic for it. But, yes, I do know they're making it, and I'm hoping for the best. Because as far as I'm concerned, you can't get worse than 4. Dalton Pizza Tower, never played it. But I know people love it. So I've seen Disney's Pocahontas. My thoughts on it. My thoughts on it are that I haven't watched it in a long time. But what I watched, it was not, even as a kid, I wasn't impressed by Pocahontas. But you're not going to get anything more specific out of me than that. Gonna save here because I don't trust myself. Of course, when I save, I do it first try. It's when you forget to save that you make all the mistakes. But when you save and you take the precaution, it's when you didn't need the save as a precaution. Thoughts on Game Awards nominees? I don't really have any passionate feelings on anything, except for Halo Infinite deserves to be nominated for Best Ongoing Game. Because while it may have launched in a not great state, it has... 343 has made exceptional strides to not only get the game where it should have been at launch, but also go above and beyond that with the content they've been adding over the last year. And it sucks to see their work not get fully appreciated. But maybe next year. Who knows? Oh, also, Gran Turismo is probably going to end up being my favorite film of the year, but I'm not sure it deserves to be nominated in the adaptation category since it's not... I didn't jump. I'm not sure it counts as being an adaptation, and that's what that category is for. Like, adaptations of video games. Like, some people think Gran Turismo is an adaptation of the Gran Turismo games, and I don't fault them for thinking that, but it's not. It's a well, maybe not a documentary, but it's based on a true story of a kid who actually did win the tournament and go on to become a professional racer after having played Gran Turismo. So while it is a fantastic movie that you should absolutely go see, I don't know that it really deserves that category specifically. Since we traded out for Bikini Bottom, would I recommend you play Rehydrated or the original? You found a PC version of the original, so playing it should be no problem. Do not play the PC version of the original, because the PC version of Battle for Bikini Bottom, the original, is not the same thing as the console version at all. It's the Xbox, PS2, and GameCube is one game, and then the PC version is like a point-and-click adventure game, and it's not at all the same thing. But I would not, if you can access the original, I would much prefer you play that versus Rehydrated. If Rehydrated is all you can access, then you're not going to get a bad experience. Because without knowing what the original is like, you probably won't have as much to really pick apart. But the original is still the definitive way to play. How do I feel about FNAF movie not getting nominated for Best Adaptation? I wouldn't say I'm celebrating, because I don't think there was ever any shot of it getting nominated. But I mean, it's good that it wasn't, I guess. Because it sure so wouldn't have deserved it. How about my well experience with Resident Evil Village and 4? I guess we'll see what happens when I play them. I gotta get my hands on a PSVR 2 headset first. Because I don't wanna play those games not in VR. I'm currently actually playing through Resident Evil 7 again, not in VR. And while it's still a very fun game, and the atmosphere is still intact, and there are still some moments of horror that still get to me, having experienced it in VR, and then going to just a flat screen experience, a lot of my immersion is gone. Because, like, now, I'm currently playing through going for 100% run, like, being very meticulous with resource management and finding all the collectibles and finding all the resources I can to really optimize what I craft and when as much as I possibly can, and treating it much more like in a more gamey sense of actually trying to maximize the efficiency or optimize the efficiency of my gameplay as best I can. Treating it more like that, more so than I am in this horrifying situation and now I need to get out of here. And that's kind of how I would prefer to do it. I prefer to have my first experience be in VR, like I'm in the moment, there's nowhere to run, my back's against the wall, and it feels real, it feels visceral, and then I go back and play it again, not in VR, when I'm one step removed from it by not playing in virtual reality, I can more easily think about it rationally and clinically, like, okay, this is where all this stuff is, I gotta use this here, and figure out the best way to go about doing things to go for 100%. So that's my plan of attack for that. Why do I like the SpongeBob movie? I mean, if you wanted me to actually talk about why it's well made, I need to watch it again to really solidify the reasoning behind that, because it's been a long time since I've actually watched it. But as for what I enjoyed about it, the road trip aspect of SpongeBob and Patrick's charisma and dynamic is something going for it. The climax with Goofy Goober Rock is classic. The songs are great. I don't know, I loved it as a kid. It's been a while since I've seen it, but so if you want me to really further substantiate more definitive reasoning behind why it's as good as it is, I would definitely need to revisit it, which I do plan to, because I'm currently watching the original 3 SpongeBob seasons again, and then I'm gonna watch the movie after I'm all set with that. Thoughts on the upcoming Peanuts movie sequel? I guess we'll see what happens. I don't feel too strongly either way on that for the moment. What is my favorite Dragon's Lair death scene? I don't think I have one. I don't know. I guess, actually, there's one that isn't in the actual game that was only available as bonus content on the anniversary DVD that came out, like, 10 years ago or something. More than 10 years ago, but it's the gargoyle level that was cut from the final arcade release. It's when Dirk is like climbing into the, I don't know, there's something in there that I thought was kind of funny, but I need to see it again. Maybe the one where he gets squished in the wall and his legs are flailing about in the bedroom. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's an interesting question that I've never really given much thought to. Which death scene is my favorite? Have you ever come across a movie I've hated more than Toy Story 4? Dial of Destiny. Easy answer. Dial of Destiny was awful. Way worse than I ever expected it to be. How am I today? Today's going great. Got to watch people's live reactions to The Little Mermaid double feature, and now I'm playing my favorite game of all time and chilling with all of you. So I'm doing very, very well today. What place would Dial of Destiny take on my 20 worst films list? Assuming it's on there. I mean, I need to give more thought as to how I would really reorganize that list, because there's so much about it that's changed over time. But it's worse than Toy Story 4. It angers me more than Toy Story 4, so at the moment it would probably be at the top. Which is crazy to think about, but that's how it'd be. You like the remade Sandy Robot fight more than the original? Yeah, same. Because the remade Sandy Robot fight is so much faster. It's a lot faster. It doesn't take as long. You're not spending. The worst thing about boss fights is when you just have to wait for things to happen. You have to wait for the bosses to attack. You're just standing there and nothing's happening. That happens a lot in the original's boss fights. They pretty much eliminate all of that for most of them in Rehydrated. You really don't get much of a chance to breathe. The only thing I don't like about the bosses in Rehydrated is that the camera isn't fixed, so in the original, because of the fixed camera angles, it made it such that the bosses felt bigger, they felt more intense to go up against because SpongeBob and Patrick and Sandy look so small in comparison to them. And also, the camera, I mean, normally it's good to have control over the camera so you can actually look at where you want to look. But the camera was so good in the original that you don't really need it. In fact, it's better that it is locked onto the boss so that you can focus 100% on just platforming and not have to worry about where the camera is and constantly readjusting it to keep up with the boss's movements. Beyond that, the bosses were definitely improved. Yeah, I don't have any arrows, so let me do a little bit of this. Still no arrows, which is unfortunate. Sometimes they drop arrows and you can snipe the spider out from a distance, but not this time. This time we're gonna have to go up close and personal. Worst show I've ever watched? Halo Show is steaming hot trash, and it's a wonder it was ever greenlit by anyone at any point in history for any reason. Genuinely astounding. I cannot believe that was the one that Microsoft's like, yeah, this is the one we're gonna sign. After all the hundreds of scripts we've rejected, I'll sign off on this one. This is the winner. This is the one that everyone's gonna love. Surely. It does not at all, it doesn't compute when you think about how that's apparently the one that are like, yeah, everyone's gonna love Master Chief making big love to a Covenant prisoner of war. That's what people come to Halo for. Have I seen Hunger Games Battle of the Songbirds and Snakes? No, haven't read the prequel, haven't seen the movie, probably won't, because I'm not that interested in seeing what circumstances led to the original trilogy. Because Divergent did a similar thing where they had the prequel book. It was all about Four, or Tobias, if you will, and his early days in the Dauntless faction before Triss came into the picture. And I'm not big on that. And of course, it's different authors, different series, but Divergent and Hunger Games are often mentioned in the same conversation because of how they appeal to very similar audiences, and just generally those types of stories are not something that interests me all that much. Although I kind of want to revisit the original Hunger Games. That's one thing that the recent movie has made me want to do, is go reread the original books and reread the original movies and see how they hold up. Because I haven't read the books since middle school. I haven't watched the movies since high school. Who knows, maybe this time I won't think that Mockingjay is artificially drawn out for no reason other than to force 2 movies so they can get double the ticket sales. I've heard the next upcoming peak PlayStation 5 exclusive, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. It's just... even if I thought The Last of Us 2 was the most amazing game that's ever been made, which it's not, even if I thought that, it's time to move on. The game came out in 2019, came out 4 years ago. You do not need to make a remaster of a game that's that new. Especially when it's like, all Naughty Dog has done over the last 10 years is Last of Us 1, Last of Us 1 Remastered, Last of Us 2, Last of Us 2 Remake, new and improved edition, Last of Us 2, Last of Us 2 Remastered, and it's like, can you get off it already? Move on. Make something new, please. Again, even if I thought Last of Us 2 was the greatest thing since sliced bread, I would still be like, I'm so sick of, can you make something that isn't the same goddamn game again and again and again, please, I beg you. What do I need to do to make you realize that you are capable of making more than the same game 20 times? Do I need to sign a contract with Ursula, sell my soul, to make you to do something else with all the people that you crunch to death over in that company of yours? Probably shouldn't have wasted all my arrows on him. I have 14 arrows left now. That was probably not the wisest move in the world. Probably should have saved some of those arrows. Oh well. We'll make do. I did not charge it long enough. I thought I was charging it longer than that. Did I see Tim Allen wants 5 to be about Andy recollecting his toys? Yeah, I mean, I think his heart's in the right place, and that Andy should be somewhat in, like, a core part of 5 if they really want to go that way. Because you kind of... I don't know what else you would do. You need to do something to course correct after 4. But I don't want it to be, like... Because the way he described... Because I watched that clip last night. The way he described it made it sound like it would be... like a dystopian future when Andy's an old man in a mysterious cloaked cape trudging through the desert, tracking down the, like, dilapidated toys that have had all their limbs fall off and have been scattered around the corners of the globe, trying to find them. Like Infinity War, Thanos searching for the Infinity Stones. I don't want that. Although, I mean, I'd take that over 4, but still. But the idea of Andy being a pivotal part in it is something that I think is necessary. I just don't want it to be, like, that. I mean, it'd be funny. It would probably be more entertaining than 4, but still. Alright, now we get to play peekaboo with the ghosts. Favorite Shrek movie? Shrek 2. Although, The Last Wish, if you consider that a Shrek movie and not just a spin-off, is certainly giving it a run for its money. I hate it when they fly between the 2 cabinets, so it's hard to tell which one they entered. See, that one's more direct. What did I think of the FNAF movie? I fucking hated every minute of it, and I never want to watch it again. Unless we do a commentary on it, but I still won't want to watch it in that case. I'll just be miserable the whole time. Okay, I guess right this time. See, when he flies, he flew, like, into the wall right there, instead of into one of the boxes, so you can never tell for sure. It's a 50-50 shot whether he went to the left or the right of it. Thankfully, I guessed right that time.
The dragon spirit.
Okay, thoughts on Violent Nights? It's not my kind of movie. It's torture porn, the movie, and it got increasingly more goofy the longer it went on.
It is that great.
But like it really fell apart by the very end, especially. What can you play this game on? You can play it on PC, Xbox, GameCube, and PS2. But I recommend the PC version. The GameCube version, unless it's your absolute only option, I strongly advise against playing the GameCube version. The control mapping sucks. The frame rate is abysmal. And there's just a lot of little things that make it not the optimal way to play.
How do you reach that switch?
PC version is the definitive way to experience it. By far. Xbox in second place. And GameCube. I don't know much about PS2 version, but the GameCube is in dead last of the 3 versions that I'm knowledgeable about. Because I've played through this game on PC, Xbox, and GameCube. And GameCube is definitively in last place. Have I played any games of the Grand Theft Auto series? No. Neil loves GTA 5. I think that's one of his most played games on Xbox. And he's tried to get me to play it before. It's just not, it's not something that I'm really that interested in, so I'm afraid I'll pass on that one. I will come to its defense, though, because GTA 5, when I was a kid, was often used as an example of, like, look at what these games are doing to our children. They're making them go around the streets, violently murder people, and then they'll play a clip of that happening in the game, and then everyone will be like, oh my god, what is this? This witchcraft, this demon spawn, and you just want to shoot yourself. Did any of y'all ever watch Screenagers when you were a kid? Did they? Because they made me watch Screenagers. They showed that to our freshman year high school class. We had to watch that shit, and it's basically just the most cartoonishly bad video or movie I've ever seen. It's all about screens bad, video games bad, etc., etc. You've seen this before. It's nothing new here. Thoughts on the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy? I liked 1, I really liked 2, did not like 3, but I don't feel that strongly about any of them, and I don't really have any desires to rewatch them. How's the Lightyear video doing? I have had way more projects that I'm passionate about than that has occupied the majority of my time recently, so stagnant, I guess. Why change gameplay for PC specifically? I don't know. They did that a lot with older games, of just different versions being completely different from each other. Unrecognizably different from each other. I can't really explain it. Have you seen the Garfield teaser trailer? No, I do not care about the Garfield teaser trailer. What's better, Tom and Jerry or Looney Tunes? I'd say Tom and Jerry. Slightly, maybe? I don't know. That's really close, because they're very similar in a lot of ways. But I think I'd go for Tom and Jerry just because it has the benefit of not being able to rely on dialogue, because Tom and Jerry can't speak. So it's purely just the animation and the writing from a comedic perspective without having to rely on dialogue. Also, I just watched Tom and Jerry a lot more as a kid, so there was that personal connection there. As for which is more well-made, they're probably around even. They're both really, really good. But if I had to pick one, I might give the slight edge to Tom and Jerry. I was thinking about how to answer this question, thinking about, in the grand scheme of things, taking everything into consideration, which is more consistently good over the years. But then I realized I don't know how to answer that either, because they've both weaved off. They've wavered in quality so much. Tom and Jerry had some crap spin-offs, and it had the really bad live-action hybrid movie 2 years ago. Looney Tunes had some movies like that, namely Space Jam 2, so I don't even know how to judge from that perspective. It's a really close race. That's a little dragon. How about we don't? How about we don't? Give me those arrows, thanks. I thought I blocked that, but I guess I didn't. How about that? How about take a little bit of my arrow? If you don't want to take my sword. SpongeBob movie triple feature? Possibly. I do really want to do that someday. I do really, really, really want to do that. How's my go-through SpongeBob going anyway? The next one I have to watch is Muscle Bob Buff Pants / The Chaperone, I think? I think that's the one that's paired up with Muscle Bob Buff Pants. Oh, no, sorry. It's, I was a Squidward, I was a teenage Squidward or something? I don't know, something like that. Something like that is the one that's paired up with Muscle Bob Buff. That's the one I need to watch next. And I think after that is the Chaperone / Employee of the Month. Let me look it up real quick, because it's going to annoy me if I don't know this. Episode guide. Alright, Squidward and the Unfriendly... That's what I was thinking of. Squidward and the Unfriendly Ghost. That's the one that I was thinking of. That's what's paired up with Muscle Bob Buff Pants. You wonder if I'd like the Silent Hill more than Resident Evil, considering the horror is more psychological. Not sure. You don't know what that means, the title? The I Was a Teenage Gary one? I don't know if you're referring to the Teenage Gary thing, hi, or the Unfriendly Ghost. The Unfriendly Ghost is a reference to Casper, and then I Was a Teenage Gary's reference to... I think there was a movie or something called I Was a Teenage Monster or something to that effect, and from what I remember about that episode, it's the one where everyone turns into Gary. The idea being that it's a play on the title of I Was a Teenage blank. It's instead of that, I Was a Teenage Gary. I can't speak because I haven't seen the first Tom and Jerry movie. Oh, trust me, I thought about that when I was answering the question. I just chose to ignore that one because that's the we don't talk about for the Tom and Jerry series. We don't acknowledge the existence of that. He's Tom, I'm Jerry. I honestly, I would need to rewatch that to know whether I hate that more or less than the live action one. I'm honestly not sure. Thoughts on DreamWorks TVA? I don't have any thoughts on DreamWorks TVA. Since I've finished Sunshine, do I plan on finishing 64? No, I do not. Maybe if I'm in a really bad mood, one day. Okay, can I make this jump, please? Thanks. Maybe if I like really hate myself one afternoon, I'll be like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna schedule a week where I play all the games I hate the most, and then I'll stream that. But I do not have any plans to do that for the time being. In an ideal world, I never have to play that game again. Teenage Werewolf. Okay, that's what it was. I knew it was a teenage something. I just didn't know what the actual, because I'd never seen the thing that it was. The original nexus point of that title that so many things, even the Owl House did, I Was a Teenage Abomination. I've seen a lot of things that riff on that title, but I've never seen the actual thing that spawned that title type. So I didn't know what the actual name of it was. Thoughts on Amazing World of Gumball? Never watched it. Don't have any thoughts on it. Can I make a top 20 best sequel list and a top 20 worst sequel list? I guess that's technically the worst movies list, because a lot of those are remakes and sequels, so like that's pretty close. Well, I say pretty close, but then I think about how that list is almost entirely outdated because I've seen so much new shit over the last couple months. So not even that. I guess not even that is gonna be accurate. If I had to do a casting for Dragons of Film, who would I cast? I don't even. First off, I do what was originally intended, which was an animated movie. That's what I do first and foremost. Game? Okay, that was weird. You saw that, right? I was turning the camera to the left, but the game was artificially stopping me. Like I couldn't spin it around fully. That was weird. Anyway, moving along. First thing I do is make it animated, not live action. And then as for who I would cast as Dirk, I just hired the original. Get Dan Molina in the booth and have him do the voice. There's no reason to hire anyone else. You don't need to hire Chris Pratt as your lead character. See, this is the problem with me going back to read earlier chat messages. Is me reading someone say, "Rate that's real," and I have no idea what that's in reference to. So I'll say, sure. That probably is real. Am I going to be playing Persona 5 Tactica? I actually installed that onto my Xbox last night before I left to go to a show. I don't think the gameplay style is something I'd be interested in. from what little I know about it, but I'm willing to give it a shot since it's on Game Pass, so I lose nothing by giving it a fair shot. I don't know if I'll do it on the channel. I probably would just rather do it on my own time. Or maybe I'll try it, and if I like it, I might turn it into a series, but for the time being, I'd probably just want to give it a shot on my own first. For Lost of Us Part 2. Oh yeah, no, that's real. That is the thing that's happening now. It's confirmed. Last of Us Part 2 is in fact getting remastered. It's coming out in January? Is that the release of it? It's coming out in January, I think. Yeah, that is a thing. Worst Disney live-action remake of what I've seen, Mulan. Mulan takes the cake for the worst of the bunch. Will I do a second review on Dial of Destiny? At this point, probably. I just don't know when. How do I feel when someone calls me a nerd? I take zero offense to that. In fact, I might even claim it, wear it as a badge of honor. I'll happily be considered a nerd. It's what I am. It is a true statement.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, there was a point in time when I was sort of insecure about being into nerdy things like video games and books and stuff. That was in high school. In fact, I was so insecure about it that when I think I've told the story before. When I first went to high school, like my freshman year, I was so insecure about the idea of being seen as the nerdy type like I was in middle school that I pretty much just didn't tell anyone about what I was actually passionate about. I was like, oh yeah, I love swimming, which is true. I did like swimming. I just didn't like swimming competitively, so the first thing that people heard when I said that was, oh, you know what you should do? You should try out for the swim team. And I'm like, no, I shouldn't, but thanks anyway. So I basically just, I hung out with more jock-like athletic type kids, and I was miserable. They were not the type of people I actually wanted to associate, but it got me to a place where people looked at me and didn't just conclude that he's the nerdy guy. Like, people were more open to talking to me, I guess. Like, more, when I say more people, I mean like the popular people, the people that would end up going on to become prom king and prom queen. Those people were more amicable towards me, but it wasn't. But I just remember one day I was sitting around with a table of people who I despised being around, and I would look at the table next to me filled with people that I should have been with, like, and by people I should have been with, I mean that's the table where Brooks and FG were sitting at, and all of the people in that friend group. And I'm like, that's where I should be, not here. And eventually I'm like, you know what, I don't really give a shit what other people think. I'm just gonna go talk with people I actually want to talk with, and not give one singular shit. I should have drank I don't know what is wrong. I should have drank a health potion before I started this battle. Oh well, I'll just drink one right now. Alright, now we get to play this boss fight. Do I think Charles Martinet should have voiced Mara in the movie? He proved that he could do it in the opening. So, yeah. And it's not like he's a voice actor or anything. Jockheads are literally the worst people in high school. Oh boy, do I have some stories. I have some stories about the people that I went to high school with. I don't want to get into all the details because, one, it'll make this stream very depressing very quickly. And two, it's a longer story that would take a lot of setup. So I'll just give you the very short Cliff Notes version, which is that it involves the principal's son, a list of people. Now, I can't even... How can I explain this in as easy a way as possible without bloating it out too much? I guess it's, someone made a list of people, and it wasn't very... Actually, if you've seen 13 Reasons Why, there's a list in that one as well. It's kind of similar to that list as far as how it ranks people. And just a lot of that kind of stuff would go around. But because he was the principal's son, there was a whole process of dealing with it.
I hear the Lizard King.
I'll just leave it there. I'll just leave it right there. Ever played Papers, Please? No. Never played Papers, Please before.
You know, I'm sure
I know of it, though. I know Jacksepticeye played it. I think there's a little Potato Man in it or something. So I know from the All the Way song, there's a line where he says, "You have, like, fake tickets, don't you? That's bad. No, Little Potato Man, you were always my favorite." Something like that. So yeah, sorry if my story is kind of vague, but that's the most I can say at the moment without dragging this down too much. There was a lot of people in my high school that I was not very fond of. Actually, I'll tell you a story that I can tell that doesn't really require any dancing around anything. Some kid pushed one of the teacher's daughters down the stairs from the top because he was trying to talk to her and she wasn't interested, and that made him very mad, and so he responded, or he reacted by pushing. He claims that he was trying to grab her shoulder to, like, pull her back, but somehow in the process of pulling her back, he wound up doing the exact opposite and pushing her forward, and she went tumbling down the stairs. And the thing about that is that this person that he pushed was one of the teacher's daughters, so yeah, that went over real well, I'm sure, as you can imagine. Well, actually, I guess it did go over well, because he got suspended over spring break, which means he may as well not have been punished at all. Because he didn't actually miss, he just, like, yeah, cool. I wasn't going to go to school anyway, so yeah, sure, I guess I'll be suspended over spring break. Sure, why not? I'll take it. There was a lot of things that happened in high school. Avert tells me I can make a book about all the shit that happened in high school, and I could. I have so many stories of all the insane shit that happened, both across middle school and high school. Have I seen Lion King 3? I think you... Oh, I guess it is called Lion King 3. I've seen it referred to as both Lion King 3 and Lion King 1.5, depending on, I guess, regioning, maybe. But I've seen that title, I've seen both titles associated with it. Yes, I have seen Lion King 1.5, and I love it. Even though it's not 100% consistent with what happens in the original Lion King, and there's like some things have been reframed and changed in ways that they clearly weren't the first time around to better suit the new story. But it's still great. Oh my god, hi. I thought you died. Turns out I didn't. Plot twist. Funky Kong and Mario Kart. At last, our prayers have been answered. The screenslaver made screenagers. Now that's the true plot twist. With Killer Croc, you were expecting I would have the same phobia with crocodiles. I mean, it's not exactly the same thing because, well, obviously it doesn't actually look that similar, I suppose. But, I mean, in Batman Arkham VR, I certainly wasn't comfortable playing that. But the main thing I know Killer Croc from is Lego Batman, and in Lego Batman, he looks more like Vector the Crocodile than anything else. And the more cartoony the design, the less it bothers me. Like, looking at Vector doesn't do anything to me. It's just when it's hyper-realistic, like something out of Resident Evil 7, or... I guess I hesitate to say Emperor's Tomb, because it's not technically realistic because of how low poly the model is. But from a distance, it's proportionally accurate enough to where it makes your brain think it's real. What do I think of the Inside Out teaser trail? If I had a nickel for every time someone asked me this question, I'd be rich. My thoughts are that pretty much all the concerns I had for it before watching it have persisted. And I only because it's like, yeah, Riley has new emotions. We already knew that. So there's no real new information outside of the new elevator up in the headquarters that seems like it could have made the first movie go a lot more smoothly than it did, but other than that, no new thoughts on it. Do I care if you give me spoilers for Ruin? I would have said no a while ago, but now I actually plan on playing Ruin because the FNAF movie was so fucking bad that I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should go play a better thing. Maybe I should experience Ruin instead of thinking about the movie. So I think I actually want to go in blind now, or as blind as I can, I guess. And yes, I am currently oscillating back and forth between reading messages from like 20 minutes ago and reading messages that are happening like right now. So I apologize. I'm trying to answer as many people's questions as I can, but I probably am going to miss someone, and I apologize for that in advance. Although I think I'm starting to catch up. I think the two timelines are starting to cross over with each other. I think Toy Story 4 is awful. Don't watch Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor. Don't worry, I had no plans on doing so. So I think I'm safe in that regard. Would I like to make a top 20 best worst songs list? No, I would not, because there's too many songs. There's actually just too many. I made a playlist on YouTube a while ago of all my favorite songs. It started out trying to make a top 20 list, but I quickly realized that that wasn't going to happen because there's too many of them that I love too much. But recently, if I had to list, like, I don't know that I have one all-time favorite song. But recently, if I had to pick one that I've been listening to again and again and again over the last month or so, it's Let the Floodgates Open by Nate Wants to Battle. Genuinely one of the best songs he's ever written, and one of the best I've ever heard. Grom Queen is better than Prom Queen. True. Very, very true. Am I scared of alligators? Does it look similar to a crocodile? Yes. In fact, I actually don't know the difference between the two of them. I know there is a difference, but I haven't cared to learn what it is because I don't want to look into it any more than I have to. They're both basically the same to me. What about... I'm not sure if that's a real animal, and I just don't know what it is, or if you were trying to say gorillas. But, no, is the answer. Okay. Do I plan on going through extensive thoughts on the FNAF movie? I kind of talked about it on my Discord server, but as far as, like, a proper breakdown in review format or audio commentary, maybe in a couple months from now, but I have too much else on my plate. Well, I'll say this. The only thing that stopped the FNAF movie from getting a rant video in the style of Indiana Jones style Destiny from me is the fact that there was just too much else I had to do. That I legitimately didn't have the time to work on a video like that even if I wanted to. It's just a crocodile, but the snout is skinny. Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I guess the answer is yes. I've genuinely never heard of that before. I didn't know that was a real word. Did I encounter high school cliches back in the day? I mean, I encountered cliche people, I guess, like the airhead cheerleader type. I've encountered the asshole dumb jock type. I mean, people will often say that whenever you see that type of character in the movie, it's like, that's such a cliche, but it's like, well, they exist. Like, they're not just fake people that have been generated for the sake of drama. It stems from somewhere, and yeah, they are real people that exist, so I guess I have. Gotta go. Thanks for tuning in, Mr. Pro. Hope you have a good rest of your weekend. Do I like eating salad? I tried eating salad once as a kid, and I almost vomited. So, no. Maybe if I tried it again as an adult, I would like it more, but as a kid, I did not like salad at all. Did the FNAF movie give me the same feeling as Toy Story 4 and Dial of Destiny? Less strong because it's an adaptation and not an actual continuation of the lore of the games, whereas Toy Story 4 and Dial of Destiny are direct continuations of the predecessors. But it's... I think the more appropriate comparison is the Halo show. Not to the same extent. The Halo show is still worse than the FNAF movie, because at least the FNAF movie has set design and animatronics going for it, and some music, but it's similar to that in the sense that it is watching an IP that has meant a lot to me throughout my life get just ripped down to shreds and tossed in the garbage. And like the thing I'm watching is not at all representative of the quality of the thing that I had fallen in love with when I was a kid. Most insufferable high school classmate I had, I think it's the guy I mentioned earlier who pushed the kid down the stairs. Because there's other things he got up to. Like, he basically went around harassing every girl in school. Well, actually, both guys and girls. He went around harassing pretty much anyone he could. So long as it was someone willing to go to the dance with him, he didn't really care. Just so long as there was someone willing to say yes. He asked everyone and every breathing sentient object in that school he asked to the dance at some point. So, I get it would probably be him. Oh my god. Oh, I almost didn't crouch there. Have I ever played any EA big video games? I assume that counts things like the FIFA and NHL games. If so, then yeah, I made a lot of good memories playing the FIFA. I mean, I know that they're dunked on extensively for just being the same game released every year with a different coat of paint and an updated roster list, which is fair. But if you only buy one, of the FIFA or NHL games, and you only play that one and don't buy every single copy, every single version every single year, it's fun. And I had a lot of fun playing NHL and FIFA with my dad when I was a kid. Most hated V3 character? Ugh, I don't know, all of them? They all suck. I think I've forgotten most of the I remember... Yeah, I remember that, of course. I remember Edge Lord Shuichi. I remember Maki. I remember the prisoner guy. I remember Bug Guy. I guess probably Tsumugi is probably the answer. I guess I'll go with Tsumugi. Thoughts on alphabet lore? Love it. Love alphabet lore. I did not expect... Man, when I watched the first couple things of the letters A, B, and C appear on the screen and say, like, A, B, I was like, man, this is cute. I didn't expect it to evolve into an actually, like, compelling and satisfying narrative story. But then it did. And that's the reason why I was using those clips in my Incredibles 2 series and a couple other things since then.
I tried to sneak into this little treasure room in search of that wonderful sword you're holding. I heard it has qualities that can help me defeat.
Okay, let me try in desperation to catch up with some messages while I was doing this. What did I miss?
Former allies.
Have I seen the Pirates movies? I have seen the first movie and I like it. I want to watch the others. So, I mean, I've been advised against watching the 5th one, but I at least want to watch 2, 3, and maybe 4. People are mixed on 4. Some people say watch 4, it's alright. Some people say don't watch 4, it sucks. But everyone is in agreement that you should not watch 5.
By poisoning the good king that guarded them. But Mordroc was not a very good magician. Had he been, he would not have needed the essences to begin with.
Someone talking about group projects. Yeah, group projects sucked. Group projects were the absolute worst.
He did not know the secret.
Because it always falls on you to do everything, but you're not supposed to do everything. You're supposed to divvy up the work, but no one wants to actually do it. And just people working with those types of people is actually impossible. I had like 1 or 2 groups throughout my entire schooling career where I was like, and not excluding times when I worked with my friends, where I was like, hey, these people are cool. I like these people. We get along like a house on fire. We're doing really well. That is the exception.
My
Having gone to college, yes.
I took it upon ourselves
I won't tell you
ensure
where, but I will
it
say
did
yes.
not go to waste. Greed, however, led us eventually.
It wasn't the typical experience, though, because when I went to college, it was struck in the middle of the pandemic, so it was pretty much all online schooling, so I never had, like, the traditional college experience, as it were, which I prefer that way, but
I will give you a little
still, I don't...
You're holding
My college experience is not
Yes.
synonymous with the average person's
It
college experience, I
involves
suppose.
that sword. I would have succeeded. Unfortunately, I had forgotten the fine print on that blasted thing. No being of weak courage and having evil intention shall withdraw this sword from its crystal sheath forthwith. And while struggling to pull it out, that dung dragon's singe.
Do I think the
snuck
people
up
who
and
made
gave
the
me
FNAF
what
movie love the series and were trying to please the fans? They've said extensively that it was made for the fans, and I think what they probably thought they were doing was they were, like, they had the set that it was lovingly crafted, they had the animatronics that were lovingly crafted, and they had the things that you recognized. They had William Afton saying, oh, FNAF movie spoilers, if you give a shit, saying, I always come back, and they had the spring suit, and they had the spring lock scene, and they had the Dream Theory book, and they had Chica's Rainbow, and they have all these references and Easter eggs all over the place that make you think that it's good. That's probably what they mean when they say that.
Very much for my freedom.
In that it was like, it's clearly, when they say it's made for the fans, it's probably what they're referring to in that regard. But, I don't know, I'm interested in a little more than that.
Difficult. It will hurt less if you just surrender them.
Somebody you had classes with last year was a legitimate creep, lying to other students saying you were dating.
Your way.
I never had to experience that, thankfully, but yeah, that does not sound fun at all. I'm glad we can all bond over a shared experience that school just sucked for the most. I mean, I can't say that definitively because I met Neil in middle school, I met FG in high school, people that mean a tremendous amount to me, and I never would have met them were it not for school, but still, they were, Neil and I were only really able to get through middle school because we had each other as a means of support to lean on, because it was just crap constantly, where there was always either we were involved in drama that we had to resolve, or there was someone else's drama that we but inadvertently roped into. Regardless of what the situation was, it was just constant calamity. Never catching a break. Every day is something. Every day is a new... It got to the point where, like, the schoolwork was secondary. We didn't even really... I was like, oh yeah, there's a math test on Friday. Cool, whoop-de-doo. You almost don't even process it because there's just too much else that you're thinking about. As far as all the people that you have to deal with on a daily basis. I have way less flame arrows than I thought I probably should for this part. I have to be extremely cautious. Favorite Alphabet Lore character? I would need to rewatch the series. It's been... I think it's been a year since I saw it. I only watched it the one time when it was first coming out. Oh dear. Bluey Xbox Series X. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that today. Okay, that did not go according to plan at all. Do I know about the epilogue Alphabet Lore? I think I saw that. I'm pretty sure I saw all of the original things for Alphabet Lore. Dear God. I saw the Bluey Xbox Series X earlier today. I can't believe it's blown up the way that it is, to the point where that's a thing that is being made, but I guess it is. Thoughts on Skibidi Toilet? Can someone clue me in on what that is? Because I have no clue. I've never... I mean, I guess I can't say I've never heard of it. I have seen people mention it before, but I have no idea what it actually is. So I have no thoughts on it whatsoever. It's a dumb meme. Well, I guess that much, but, like, specifically, what is it? You're not kidding? No, I know you're not kidding. I saw it. I posted a link about it in the server this morning, in my Discord server. I'm perfectly aware that the Bluey Xbox is a thing that exists. I know you are not telling me the funny jokes. I'm just... It's unbelievable that it is not a funny joke. It's a toilet with a head and a creepy smile of a guy. It's a guy's head in a toilet singing. Alright then. I mean, I don't know what I expected. It seems pretty in line with what I was anticipating.
Dirk, that shapeshifter's magic kept me from assisting you, but he's gone now.
Or would I rank Free Guy on updated 20 worst movies list? Lower than... It wouldn't be in number 2 anymore because I've seen so much else shit. I've seen Dial of Destiny, I've seen FNAF movie, the FNAF movie, I've seen a lot of things. I've seen The Little Mermaid 2023. Although actually that... I don't know if I would want to implement a rule similar to my one movie per franchise rule, because otherwise Lion King 2019, Little Mermaid 2023, and Mulan 2020 would all be there. So it's like, I don't know if I want to clog up the list with all those, because they would all be there. They all suck. They all suck real bad. Villain in the FNAF movie, he's barely has any presence, and when he comes in at the last second, he's only there to be like, hey, fan service, the thing.
Well, I'm glad
The thing you said, you remember when he said the thing? He said it's, can you please clap, can you please, I mean they did, in my audience, they did in fact, like, oh, he said the thing, he said the thing. My theater went nuts. Over all the little moments like that, they just lost their collective minds. I don't know why I thought I could make that. They lost their minds over all those little moments, which is weird, because they also laughed uncontrollably at all the jump scare. Well, the one there's like one major jump scare in the FNAF movie, and there's I guess there's other attempts at jump scares. It's just that none of them actually land. But the one major one caused everyone to laugh and not actually jump back in fear. So I thought I was in an audience of people that was actually like on board with the idea that what I'm watching is utter shit, but apparently not, because they were all eating up all the stuff. And when the big plot twist happens, plot twist in quotation marks, where I jumped into the lava, where Vanessa reveals who she is and how she ties into this whole thing, everyone was like, oh my god! And I'm like, what the fuck? I actually visibly, like, audibly said out loud, oh, come on. Like, I couldn't hold it anymore. I was losing my mind. It was a miserable experience being in that theater. I hated it. It's awful. You see why I want to forget about Danganronpa? Well, maybe not. I don't know if want to forget about it is a good way to put it, because, like, Danganronpa is a huge part of why I'm even still here right now. Because I've said before, 2022, like, early 2022, I was considering just quitting altogether and not making any more videos, because I had fallen so far down a pit full of playing games that I hated, just because I thought people wanted to see me play them, and doing it like 3 times a day and trying to keep up with that was just killing me. So I wanted to stop. It was only because my Toy Story 4 series got picked up as much traction as it did and made me think, oh, I can actually do this with something that I don't hate. That'd be cool. That I decided to keep going and just take my channel in a different direction. And a large reason why that happened is because I found Danganronpa, which made me make my Danganronpa 3 series, which then gave me the experience and confidence. Because once I had made that series and seen that people would be interested in that type of content from me, because my Dragon's Den 3D video has only just recently crossed 20k views, even though it's like my favorite thing I've ever made. It is not very, almost no one's actually watched it, kind of like the game itself, no one's actually played it. But my Danganronpa 3 series told me that, oh, people would actually be interested in that type of content from me on Now that I had done it on something that people were actually, my audience was actually interested in. So then that gave me the push I needed to be like, okay, let's finally rip Toy Story 4 apart. And then the rest is history. So I can't say that I fully hate Danganronpa as a series just because of how it's changed my life. I mean, I still attribute that more so to Ace Attorney than Danganronpa because I never would have found Danganronpa were it not for Ace Attorney. But it's still, like, I can't deny how it's led me to where I am today. So I don't want to forget it. I don't want to forget my time with the series. It's just, narratively speaking, I hate how it unfolded, I guess, is a way to put it. Alright, please don't crush me. I think I'm lined up well enough. Yep, I'm safe. Your stance on Danganronpa is liking the characters, thinking most of the story is shit. Yeah, that's the other thing, is it's like, the thing that always pushed me through those games was the fact that there was always at least a couple characters that I really, really liked. The thing I can't get over is just the fact that ever since V3, all of that has been nullified, because it's just, oh, it was all a reality show, and all the characters weren't actually characters, they were just, that is such a, I don't want to get into it, I've said my piece on that enough. But goddamn, man, I am so thoroughly displeased with what happened in V3. Anyway, I'm gonna let this burn out and then get another one, because I forgot that that cutscene was gonna play there. And I need to make a beeline for all these torches if I'm gonna light them all in time. Perfect. Alright, bring out the whirlwind. And the spirit to heal afterwards. If Toy Story 4 was the same movie, but I had to delete one character from it, who would it be? That wouldn't really work. Because, like, if I delete Woody from Toy Story 4, you don't have a movie anymore. It cannot function the same way anymore. I guess, unless you mean it would be like Doki Doki Literature Club, where it would self-correct and just change other things to prevent, like, the universe from imploding. It would change other things about the story to where it could still function. But, like, you can't, it wouldn't work if I just removed Woody or Bo Peep. Well, I guess it's interesting to think about, like, a self-correcting movie as characters get deleted. It is kind of just what happens in DDLC, though. Would I rather rewatch Cars 2 or FNAF? Dude, Cars 2, I love Cars 2. Cars 2 shit, but it's really fun to watch. FNAF movie was painful to watch. Easy answer. I will happily watch Cars 2 again. Favorite Tom and Jerry show and movie? I mean, as far as, like, if by show you mean of all the different iterations of Tom and Jerry over the years, which is my favorite version? Like, as it's been continually brought back again and again and again. And I would just say the original classic era. The OG Tom and Jerry cartoons were my favorite. As far as specific episodes are concerned, maybe one day I should rewatch the Tom and Jerry episodes in the same way that I'm doing for SpongeBob right now, so that I can have a better answer to this question. Because it's been so long since I've seen them, I don't really have a good answer. I usually default to one of the Musketeer episodes where Tom and Jerry are dressed up like musketeers and they do sword fights, because I liked sword fights as a kid. I like the golf one. The one where, I forget what it's called, but it's the one where Tom's playing golf. That might happen more than once, but, like, there's one in particular I'm thinking of. I'll try to look it up. Actually, I'll just look it up here real quick. Because I'm in something of a grace period. Let's see. Tom and Jerry golf episode. T for 2, that's what it's called. The T for 2 is one of the ones that I liked a lot. Do I still like Star Wars Republic Commando? Yeah, I've only played it once. I haven't gone back to it since I did my Let's Play of it in 2018. But I liked it when I played it. And that hasn't really changed. Maybe one day I'll do that. Maybe I'll, do a stream revisiting Republic Commando someday. Because I would like to go back to that game. I've actually considered putting it on a couple trade lists before. But I don't know if I like it enough to actually do that, so I think I might revisit it sometime in the future to evaluate whether I like it as much as I did the first time around. Is Abby included in the golf episode? Thankfully, no. Wouldn't it be funny if they embraced the meme and they actually put in a golf mode in The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered? Like, that I honestly wouldn't even be mad. I would actually laugh if they did that. That would actually be funny if they embraced the meme and went full-on golf mode. Like Wii Sports, except it's on... I thought I jumped. I guess I didn't. Except it's on PlayStation. My Toy Story 4 analysis is amazing. Go as far as say it's a masterpiece. Never thought you'd meet anyone who loves Toy Story as much as I did. I do remember you saying that in the server, but I guess I'll say again, I appreciate that. I'm glad you loved my series as much as you did. I have a phobia of crocodiles. The All Hail King Julian Netflix prequel show is not for me. Stay away. I mean, if it's a cartoonish design, I'd probably be all right. Like, I guess a way that I try to describe this to people is Vector the Crocodile good, Temple of Doom bad, Peter Pan good. What's another example? Resident Evil 7 bad, I guess. That's the first thing that came to my mind because I'm playing through that game right now. Because I want all the achievements for Resident Evil 7. I'm going after all of them in my playthrough right now. But if I do that, that means I'm gonna have to actually face that DLC with the crocodiles or enemies, and I'm like going back and forth as to whether I actually want to do that. I might have to rope someone else in to actually helping me get through that shit. Because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. I don't know if I'd actually be capable of doing that myself. Do I think a Benny movie could work? Sure. I don't see why not. It's a very densely packed world full of very interesting lore that maybe the games kind of bungle in their executions in some areas, but it's a very, very fascinating world that's ripe for being adapted to a movie. However, something else I've kind of realized recently is that I don't actually want... Like, the FNAF movie was what made me realize, you know, I'm good with things not getting adapted to movies. They were designed for the medium of a video game, and maybe it should stay that way. Maybe we don't need to make everything into a movie just because. Because the FNAF games are always going to be there. The Halo games are always going to be there. The presence of a show doesn't really impact me that much. The big thing that I was excited for with the Halo show and the FNAF movie is that it would be able to share the story and characters that I'd come to love so much with an audience of people that doesn't care about or doesn't like video games. Like my parents, they don't play games. They watch a lot of TV and movies. So a Halo show would have been a way through which they could experience that story that they would actually be able to enjoy and consume. Because my dad doesn't hate video games. He likes games. He just hates first-person games because they make him motion sick. He would always say that whenever he walked into the room while I was playing Minecraft as a kid, he would have to look away from the screen or else he would want to vomit. So he would never be able to play the Halo games, but he could watch a Halo show. The problem is that the Halo show is shit, so they watched one episode and they're like, this is terrible, I'm never watching this again. So that didn't work. And then it's the same thing with the FNAF movie, where it's like, the only praise I've seen for the FNAF movie comes from people who love the games, and it's like, look at all the Easter eggs and the references, and it feels authentic or whatever. But for just mainstream audiences, it doesn't, as a horror movie, or even just as a story, it falls apart under the slightest of scrutiny. So the only thing that I would be interested in, which is bringing these stories to a wider demographic of people, doesn't even succeed at that, which is like, why even bother anymore at this point? So to conclude that little tangent, I am perfectly fine with games I love being confined to a video game. I don't need them to be adapted to the medium of film or TV or anything. Which isn't to say that you can't make them good if you try. It's just that it's not... Maybe err on the side of caution moving forward, I suppose. Would I rather replay Super Mario Kart or rewatch Style Destiny? Rewatch Style Destiny. I rewatched it with friends, and that made the viewing experience a lot more enjoyable. Like, tremendously more enjoyable. Sonic movie is probably the best game adaptations you've seen. Out of movies, sure. TV shows, I'd probably say... Well, like, if we include all mediums, I'd probably say The Last of Us is the current contender. Although, I kind of go back and forth on The Last of Us because... It's very, very good. But the thing about it is that, like... You don't have as much time to really get to know the characters, and... One of my biggest problems with The Last of Us, the game, is that it's got a lot of bloat, I guess. There's a lot of really drawn-out sequences that don't really add much of substance. Or at least I thought they didn't. A lot of things that feel like they're just there to extend the runtime of the game when they don't really need to be there. But what I came to realize about it is that while they weren't very fun to play, they were giving you more time to spend with Joel and Ellie and fleshing out their relationship as characters and as a surrogate father-daughter type thing. But you kind of lose that when you take it to television, or at least, I mean, you didn't have to lose it. It's just that they only had like 9 episodes, which isn't even remotely comparable to the amount of time spent playing as Joel and Ellie over the course of the game. So the bond, there was an admirable job of emulating the bond that they had, but it still wasn't anywhere close to the same level of depth that the games had going for them. So I kind of go back and forth, because like there's a lot of things that The Last of Us show does really well, even some things I think it does better than the games. But I don't know. I'm kind of undecided, I guess. I liked it a lot when I watched it, and I still would say it's a very well-made show. But when comparing it to the game, I don't know which one I think does a better job at conveying the story of The Last of Us. But I'll say this much, at least. I'm happy that it was made by people who think that it's the greatest story video games have ever told. I mean, I don't think it is. I do not at all think that Last of Us is the best story video games have ever told. But I'm happy that the people who made the show think that, because it means that it was made by people who actually respect the source material. Which can't always be said. And while I have things to criticize about The Last of Us show, I would also say that I cannot deny that it was made by people who clearly understand the games. And a valiant effort was made to translate it to television. So, I didn't even see the question of thoughts on The Last of Us show overall. But I guess, hopefully that's a satisfying answer to, my thoughts on The Last of Us overall. Even my father thought the Halo show was terrible. Yo, my parents hated it. My parents absolutely actually, I think they might have gotten to episode 2. They might have said episode 1 was okay, but then they got to episode 2 and they're like, nope, this is too shit to continue. I don't remember if they got 1 or 2 episodes in, but yes, they did. They concluded that it was too terrible to watch, and they didn't watch any more than that, which is a shame because it means that they're never going to be able, because they'll never play the Halo games. I know that for a fact. They will never ever play the Halo games. But so they will not get to experience the story, which really sucks. And that's kind of the other thing. Not only is it just that people won't get to experience the story because of how bad the show is that they won't want to. That they'll think like, oh, is this what the Halo games are like? This is awful. Why would anyone play this? And it's like, no, guys, you gotta understand. The games are actually good. They were made by people who know what they're doing. The show was not. You gotta believe me. The show is not at all indicative of what Halo is capable of when everything is firing on all cylinders. So that's kind of annoying. Oh my god! Only episode 2. Well, I mean, to be fair, there's only 9 episodes. So it's not like they got into episode 1 of 60 or whatever, but still, they didn't last long. Have I seen Pixels? No. I've heard it's terrible though, so I don't really want to. Would I rather rewatch Barbie or Quantumania? I think Barbie's shorter, so I'll go with Barbie. But they were both... It's a good comparison, because they're both movies that I was constantly checking the time code for. Like, desperately hoping it would end, and then it just never did. And they're both ones I wanted to stop watching, because, like, with Barbie, I would have walked out of the theater were it not for the trade deal that I had with Avert. And for Quantumania, I also would have walked out of the theater if I saw it, but I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it at home on Disney+. And I was constantly, I was fast-forwarding, I was skipping around being like, does this ever get good? And the answer was no, it didn't. It never got good. It kept being shit the entire... No, okay. There was potential in the opening, like the first act. There was some bitches like, okay, I see potential here. And then it was all squandered as soon as they go into the quantum realm. And I'm like, oh, no, you lost it. You had me and you lost me. For a brief moment, I thought that this might have been something other than absolute shit. But, nope. My faith was not rewarded. Bluey's getting a video game. Didn't it come out yesterday? I think it came out yesterday, because I'm pretty sure I saw Ray Narvaez Jr., formerly of Achievement Hunter, streaming it on Twitch. So I think it came out yesterday, or if not yesterday, then this week. I don't want that. I want this.
The blue key is yours.
And then I want this. Oh. Have I seen any anime films? I've seen Spirited Away, I've seen My Neighbor Totoro, and I've seen Perfect Blue. Oh, and I mean, I guess this isn't an anime movie, but it's based on something to that extent. I saw the Scott Pilgrim movie, which just feels like a live-action anime. What was the part in Barbie that broke the camel's back? I think it was as soon as they went to the human realm that I'm like, this is... I mean, I don't think there was really one part is the thing. It was a very gradual loss of interest and wanting to fall asleep. There wasn't really one scene that made me go, oh, this is terrible. Most boring movie and game I've experienced. See, the problem with questions like this is that the fact that they are boring and because I've been asked a similar thing where it's like, what's the most mediocre movie you've ever seen? But because they're mediocre or boring, they don't really stand out in my memory, so it's hard to answer. So yeah, I don't really think I have any good ones for you this time. Sorry. I should try out Slay the Princess. I saw some people talking about that on Twitter. I don't know what it's about, but I've seen it getting some praise, so I might look into it. Just to see what it is. Will there be an audio commentary on Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey? No, there won't. You can't pay me. Even if you offered me to, I'd like, no, I'm going to refuse your money. You can't make me. Have I watched Thomas the Tank Engine? I don't know that I've ever seen a full episode. Actually, I might have seen a movie. There was a movie, it was like, I don't know if it was called The Magic Railway or something, but it was basically, there was a hidden magic railway hidden in a cave or something that they were going into. A movie like that. I'm pretty sure I saw that movie, but I don't think I've ever seen any full episodes of Thomas and the Tank Engine. I do know the theme song though. There 2, there 4, there 6, there 8. Shunting trucks and hauling freight. What's the next line? Down the green and around the bend, Thomas and his friends, I think? I remember singing that with my cousin while we were swinging on the swing set at my grandmother's house. Probably much to the annoyance of our family, but we didn't care. We were kids having fun. Why do I refuse to watch Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey? Because I don't know, I just don't want to. That's not at all something that interests me. There's way better things that I can do with my time than watching that. Oh, this is the part where we die. Yeah. I did not mean to step off the ledge there. Okay, let's yep. Let me not leave until I kill the bats. How about we do that? More of a third-person shooter guy? Yeah, understandable. I mean, the thing is, I'm not really... I wouldn't call myself an FPS guy. Like, most FPS games I've played have been not good. So, it's a miracle that I actually like Halo as much as I do. There's just something about it that really speaks to me, narratively and in terms of gameplay. Because most first-person shooter games I've played, I have not enjoyed at all. Which makes my unbridled love of it all the more, I guess. That was lucky. He was waiting for me, but he missed, fortunately. He was waiting for me to jump, but he missed. So, I guess it all worked out in the end. I love the flame sword. Once you get to this part of the game, you can just start steamrolling through everybody. Ow. Hi. Alright, now for the much harder rope swinging challenge. For which I will have my wings equipped in case I need it to fall back on. Why do I hate Quantumania? Because it seems to, like, laugh in the face of the idea of consistency, and it's... I would go as far as to say it's an affront to art itself. It's just completely incomprehensible from every aspect of filmmaking. It feels sandwiched together out of a million different ideas, none of which are fully fleshed out. It's a completely incoherent, babbling mess that doesn't feel like it underwent any level of revision. It's just, I don't, it's... I ranted about it on my server when I first watched it earlier this year. And, never again. Never will I ever watch that shit again. Once was already too much. Have I seen the Banana Splits movie and Willy's Wonderland? No. I have not. That was close. Ow, please, no! Almost missed the opportunity to hit him there. This is gonna be close. Once you cross a line, he starts his attack and despawn phase, and if you're not fast enough... Oh boy. And that's a win. Easy mode. Easy mode. How many penis bushes have I seen? From memory, I've seen... It's... I've seen the Easter one, I've seen Christmas one, I've seen both, I've seen two Christmas ones. It's the Charlie Brown Christmas and then the I Want a Dog for Christmas Charlie Brown. I've seen Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, I've seen the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, I've seen the Valentine's Day one, I've seen the Arbor Day one. I think that's... There's probably other ones, because like on the DVD, I always watch the specials on DVD, and the DVDs would always have the main special, that being... It's a Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown or something. And then there would always be bonus episodes that would be in the special features section. I'm pretty sure I watched those as well, I just don't remember what they are. But those are the main ones that I remember watching as a kid. Oddly enough, though, it's not really a tradition for me to watch... Like, I really don't have any particularly strong nostalgic attachment to the Charlie Brown Christmas special. So it's not really part of my holiday traditions to rewatch that every year.
The wizard will stop at nothing to keep you from me.
People say Catch Rail's the worst Layton game and you never understand. It's boring, but Azran Legacy is just straight up shit. I am not one to comment. I haven't tangoed with Layton games in quite a while. I started playing Lost Spectre and I just never got to finish uploading those episodes. I will one day though. One day I will finish my Layton adventure. I just don't know how long it's gonna take. OJ's the one you want to talk to about Layton stuff. I don't know if he's still in chat, but he's your go-to Layton expert. I am not that. I am someone who processes the insanity as it gets thrown my way. What's my advice to people who are relentlessly ridiculed for... Why did I not put on my scales? I should have put on... Yep, let's do that again, shall we? This time not being dumb. This time we actually use the dragon scales and also don't stand in front of the fire. Pro tip. Don't stand in front of the fire. Okay, we made it. Cool. It's also save. Haven't done that in a while. Where was I? Ow. Yeah, Leighton, I just sorta... I played the games and I reacted to all the insanity as it came my way. But I'm certainly not... I can't speak to anything after Last Spectre, and even Last Spectre is kind of already faded out of my mind because it's been a year since I played it. Did I see why you hated the SpongeBob movie? I think I saw your comments during the stream chat about how a lot of it runs on contrivance, which maybe. Coolest movie title? Back to the Future is a pretty cool one. Oh, this one. Okay, that's where I was. Advice to people who are relentlessly ridiculed for watching kids who aren't family and friends. My advice is the same as I always have for anyone who ridicules you for anything you like doing, which is just to not care. Which, I mean, I know that's like a lame answer, because it's like, yeah, it's just that easy. Just don't care about people saying mean things to you. Idiot. Have you considered just not feeling emotions? Lol. Like that's kind of what it feels like it comes off as whenever I say that to people, is like to not care what people think. But I know it's not that easy to just not take their thoughts on the matter seriously. But that is really just generally what I would have to say, which is that all that matters is that you enjoy something, and that the thing you enjoy doesn't actively cause harm to other people. And in this case, it doesn't, so it's not their place to try to ridicule you for doing something that you enjoy. So that would be what I have to say on that note. Thoughts on Sailor Moon? No experience with it. Best Christmas movie is probably the original Home Alone. I do love Jingle All the Way, though. I do love Jingle All the Way. I mean, it's an absolute mess. It's so crazy. It's completely off the walls the entire time. But that's what I love about it, is that it's just unapologetically absurd for the entire duration of the film. So that's what I love about Jingle All the Way. But as far as best made Christmas movie, I think it's got to be the original Home Alone. Timeless classic that I watch. Every year I always watch the first two Home Alone movies. I'm also fond of the Polar Express, but I haven't seen that. I've been meaning to watch the Polar Express for years, and I just have never gotten around to actually, like, revisiting it. I think this is the year. This is the year where I'm finally going to actually revisit the Polar Express. No more dawdling. This is it. This is the year where we do it. What do I think is the worst meme? I don't know. I guess the one that really annoyed me in middle school was the 9+10 one. Just because, I don't know, it annoyed me that people were memeing about math. I think I'm screwed. Yeah, this is the part where we die. Unless I can stand on top of this, which I don't think this is gonna work. Nope, okay. Alright. So how do we not die here? Well, it doesn't involve going to law. You know what? Let's risk it. Why not? I don't know if I have enough mana to make this flight back. If I don't, this is not gonna end well for me. But I have faith. I have faith. I have faith. I have faith. Okay, we made it. Now I just need enough to get to cross this final leap. Waited as long as possible to press spacebar. I think I might have flown too close to the sun. Okay. With just barely enough mana, I had exactly enough to backtrack and come all the way over here. Okay. Let's, drink a mana potion, please. I genuinely thought that that was gonna be it. I did not think I had enough mana left to cross the gap and get back. Because what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to grab that diamond and then glide to the exit door. But, I messed up on gliding, so I did not have the elevation I needed to actually do that. So now we have to take the long way. I mean, this is where you're meant to go anyway if you're not going after the collectibles. It's just that when you're going after collectibles, you often don't need to take this route. Okay, please. Yep, I need that. I need that. Need that desperately, and away we... Oh, well. Now I've... Good thing there's a checkpoint, because I just totally blew that. I switched off the dragon's wing for some reason. Anyway. Let's try that again. And this time let me save, so that if I screw up, I don't need to redo all that. I'll do this, why not? If you want, you can actually equip the essences from the menu with the amulet option. You don't need to use the essence switcher, but it's just more convenient to use the switcher. Would I rather rewatch Violent Night or Cocaine Bear? Cocaine Bear. Good comparison, though. But I think Cocaine Bear is a lot funnier than Violent Nights. Violent Night is just, like... It really does just feel like... I mean, there is some level of redeeming qualities in that it has... Like, David Harbour is obviously amazing, as he is in everything. And there's... The kind of connection he forms with one of the kids is kind of sweet. But most of it really does just feel like... Let's watch them get murdered in increasingly... I'm dead. Increasingly obnoxiously violent ways. And I'm never a fan of whenever it devolves into torture porn like that. Okay, let me, oh, it fell. Oops, I wanted to grab that, but not anymore. Seen the Deadpool duology? I got clips from one of the movies from my Owl House video, but I've never watched the movies and I don't really want to. Okay. I think that, yep, this is going to be the part where I leave. That's enough platforms that have disappeared. And then they spawn in around this point. So I'll take care of you. Get knocked off, stunned. And that should be enough to get up here. Thoughts on AI Pixar posters? I'm so sick of seeing them. Man, that's just me with AI art in general. I'm so fucking sick of looking at it. I mean, in general, it annoys me, but I guess the AI Pixar posters especially have gotten under my skin just because of how much I care about Pixar as an animation studio. How about we don't? Thoughts on the Spider-Man Sam Raimi trilogy? I already answered the Raimi trilogy. Amazing Spider-Man duology. They're both shit. The second one was so bad that FG and I, because she showed me both Amazing Spider-Man movies in one sitting, just like she did for the Raimi trilogy. The second one was so bad that we just gave up paying attention to it after the planes, or after the plutonium truck chase scene, and we just started talking about literally anything else. But I really don't know which one I'd say is worse. They're both really bad. What's wrong with the first one? I remember Ben's death being insanely contrived. I remember the highway scene with the cars dangling off being annoying because the kid somehow didn't burn alive or instinctively move away from the fire. The Peter yanking the kid back up and somehow not dying. I don't know how Peter got his mask back on with how his hands were full. Dodging undodgeable bullets at point blank range and then getting hit by a long shot while being unaffected by it. The police still prioritizing Peter, even when everything's falling apart at the seams. the insane contrivance that the girl Peter likes is also intertwined with the villain, who's also intertwined with the police chief. So we can save the day at the end. There's no real build-up to the city deciding to join forces and help at the end. The lizard guy constantly monologuing instead of just killing him. There's a lot of things that I remember being annoyed by. Would I rather we watch Minions Rise of Gru or Lightyear? Rise of Gru was kind of boring to some extent, whereas Lightyear is entertainingly bad, especially if you watch with friends. I didn't really get much out of Minions The Rise of Gru. This is gonna be close. Alright, let's try... Oh my god, there's 4 of them! Did not realize there were so many of them. Okay, let's not use all of that, because I need some mana to cross this gap. Alright, let's go for it. Also on Pixar recognizing the Mike and Slight face swap meme. I didn't know that that happened. Even kids' scribble art looks better than AI art because it's genuine. True. I mean, it's scribble art, but at least it clearly came from the heart and had some level of passion and intent behind it. Which is not something I can say for any AI art that I've seen at all. Oh, these guys, okay. Is Amity the best character in the Owl House? I would say Luz is the best character in the Owl House, but they're all really, really strong, so it's a tough competition. Is Hootie the character of all time? Hootie is indeed the character of all time. Alright, I'm doing alright on arrows, looks like. So I don't want to waste all of them though, because I need to save. I could probably just use arrows, the crossbow exclusively here, but I need to save arrows for the final battle. And also, I'm going to be not going to be needing mana anymore in a second anyway, so it's probably best to just burn through all my mana in this section. Also, I don't know if you heard that, but my stomach just growled, so go think about the end of the game, because I'm definitely going to need to eat something after this. Okay. Will there be a Let's Play on Super Mario Wonder? Yes, there will. Not this year, but there will be one when I do play it. Which is the better movie, Ghostbusters or Men in Black? I've never actually seen Ghostbusters, so I don't know. But I do really like Men in Black. Men in Black's very good. But Ghostbusters, so actually, I had a chance to watch it when I went to my sophomore year of high school. We went to a sleepaway camp thing before the first week of school. And all of us, it was a school-sponsored thing. Like, everyone's required to go to this sleepover cabin in the woods kind of thing. And while we were there, at night, it was movie time. And the 3 choices to what we could watch were... It was Ghostbusters, The Karate Kid, and then the third one, I don't remember. I think it was it Gremlins? I don't know. There was a third movie we could have watched. But it was... 2 of them I hadn't seen. I hadn't seen Ghostbusters or the other one, but I had seen The Karate Kid. And naturally, which one did we end up watching? We ended up watching The Karate Kid. The one I had already seen, so... I had a chance to watch it, and by the way, the way they ended up deciding which one to show everyone was just by audience volume. So, like, cheer if you want to watch this movie, and then if the loudest cheer was the one that won over. So, that's how that happened. Okay, let's use one final health potion. I've burned through all my mana because I don't need it anymore, and let's enter the portal. You recommend I play Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World, both phenomenal games? I played a bit of both. I liked them. I liked Super Mario Bros. 3 as a kid. Although I didn't get very far in it. Better and worse. Tank from Last Crusade or Trebuchet from Mulan 2020? I think you know the answer to that. Comparing one of the best action scenes in any movie ever versus one of the worst action scenes in any movie ever.
Thank you, Dirk.
Mulan 2020 is such a shit movie.
To me.
Genuinely, it's almost unbelievable how
I see you're
truly
confused.
terrible it is.
You were expecting the princess, of course.
Seen the Garfield movie trailer?
Rest
No, because I don't care.
assured that she is safe and sound inside that portal. Forgive me for playing such a cruel trick on you. But you see, I needed someone to eliminate all my enemies and reclaim the essences that were stolen from me. I certainly could not do it from this prison. And my dim-witted dragon Singe was certainly no help. That's
Dirk's
why
yelp
I
is
gave you
hilarious.
the
Yeah,
amulet
Dirk's
and
the
pretended
voice
to be
acting
the
for Dirk
princess
is really, really.
to
That's what
guide you
sells the
along your
character.
way.
How just silly he
And I
is.
see my plan worked out well.
And that's why I don't. If I wouldn't want anyone other than him to
I
voice
shall
him
rule this
in the movie
world
if they
once
want to make
more,
one. But of course,
and
it's
take
going to be
the
Ryan
princess
Reynolds
as my
instead. So,
bride.
oh well.
I can't have you taking away my prize now, can I?
Would I rather rewatch Cars 2 or Quantum Maniac?
You're
Always
you're
Cars 2.
useless
Like
to me.
genuinely, I don't dislike Cars 2. It may be terrible, but it's an absolute blast for me to watch. I know not everyone has that experience. I know some people really, really hate watching Cars 2, and I completely understand why. But I am not one of those people. Oh, thanks! He killed his friend for me. Mordroc shot his minion with his own wizard staff. Sure, I'll take it. Saves me a step. Yeah. Should have moved a little faster than that. See, the trick here is that you need to not kill them out over the abyss, or else you may not be able to get the arrow you need because you don't have the dragon's wing anymore. I probably should have only grabbed one of those so I could save the other one for after this. Although they might despawn after you grab one, I'm not sure. They might prevent you from exploiting that. Have I played New Super Mario Bros. DS, Wii 2, U, Luigi, U, and U Deluxe? Okay, we'll take those one by one. DS, no. Wii, yes. 2, no. U, yes. Luigi, U, no. U Deluxe, yes. But I will play most of those sometime next year because they, Averta's traded them with me in exchange for him watching all of Seinfeld. Is King the second character of all time? King is one of the best characters. I mean, I want to say he's one of the best characters in the show, but that's like most of them. So it doesn't really mean much when I say that they're one of the best ones. The core Owl family trio is the heart of...
You think you
Because
would,
it's...
don't you?
Amity isn't really directly intertwined, because like the core of the show is Luz, Ida, and King and their family dynamic.
You will find
And
I'm
yet
not
Amity
so
is still
easily
phenomenally well written,
vanquished.
but the core of it is those three.
Blast you, you infernal knight! You ruined my plans! No matter. I've absorbed enough energy to destroy you and everyone else in this pitiful kingdom! Now witness my true power!
Alright, here we go. Final battle against Dragon Mordroc.
Thanks to Princess Daphne, I discovered the secret of the princesses. It involves that sword.
If I were kidnapped by Eggman, what Sonic character would I like to save me?
It involves that sword.
This might be the strangest question I've ever been asked. Or at least it's up there. I don't know, Tails, because then I can go on a trip in the plane, fly through the sky. Ah, run! Oh, I need to actually stand still for this. My brain was still in run for my life mode and not kill the boss mode. Eggman, because he can just release you. Yeah, I don't really, I would not know how to answer that. You want Cars 4 to be a sequel to Cars 2? I want Cars 2 or Cars 4 to not exist. Cars 3 is where it should have stopped. Thoughts on the red pill community? I mean, I know what it means to red pill someone, just because, like, of how that term stems from the Matrix, but I don't know what the red pill community is, so I don't know. You're new to live chat? Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Glad you decided to join us today for a playthrough of my all-time favorite game that you should play if you haven't already. Available on PC, Xbox, GameCube, and PS2, but don't play GameCube unless you hate yourself. Also not sponsored. Trucks. Yeah, well, see, we don't... Oh, I didn't, I think I had a momentary lapse in judgment there. I think I ran when I should have stayed stationary. My brain was still in run for your life mode when it should not have been. Trucks, I almost said trucks on the road. Cars on the road is one of those things that we just pretend doesn't exist. Cars 3 is the conclusion of Lightning McQueen's story. And it shall remain that way. That means Pixar better not get any funny ideas. I think my brain is just used to, because it's RNG whether you get good, whether he just stands there and shoots a mini electric spark at you, or whether he just unleashes a Hell Fury and you have to run for a bit. I think I'm just used to getting bad RNG and having to run constantly instead of being handed free hits like that. Yeah, he hasn't really attacked me much at all this time. Pretty much been almost exclusively the mini hits, which is what I want. Will I stop streaming after finishing this boss? Yes, because I need to eat and then I want to relax, because I have not gotten much sleep this week. I got a good... Even last night, I got home really... Because I had to drive 90 minutes to go to the show I went to see, and then I had to drive 90 minutes back, and it was like midnight by the time I got home, and then when I got in, I got showered, it was like 1 a.m., and then I woke up at 8, so... I still haven't really gotten a super good night's sleep. So I want to try to relax a bit today, because of how I stayed up for like 2 or 3 days with little to no sleep trying to push Little Mermaid through copyright. So I definitely am going to wrap things up after this cutscene is over. Oh yeah, we beat the game, by the way. We did it. See your favorite answer to the Eggman question? Amy, because she can summon an army of hammers to break you free and defeat Eggman. Neat. If I had to choose one favorite song from the Toy Story series, which one would it be? The obvious answer is You've Got a Friend in Me, because it's kind of what started it all, but... Man, I really love Woody's Roundup. I think I gotta go with Woody's Roundup. Would I watch a Pixar Jimmy Timmy Power Hour adaptation in theaters? I guess. I wouldn't mind going back to that world. The world of Jimmy Neutron and Fairly Odd Pair. Although, I don't know how well Fairly Odd Parents would age if... I guess I don't know how well both those shows would age if I went to revisit them nowadays. I kind of do want to revisit them to see how they age, how well they hold up. Because I haven't watched them since I was a kid. Have I seen the Angry Birds movie? I have not. I haven't seen either of them. Which Pixar movie do I think would most likely get a sequel? Probably Incredibles. I mean, ignoring Toy Story because obviously we know it is getting a sequel. I'd probably say Incredibles is most likely to get one. Best and worst Indiana Jones villain. Best is... I don't know, I like all three from the original trilogy for different reasons. Molaram's the most present threat, and like he's directly responsible for all that's gone wrong in Temple of Doom. Whereas Belloc and Donovan are more like arch nemesis rivals in a way. Donovan is probably my least favorite thing about Last Crusade, just because the thing I love most is the dynamic between Indiana's father rather than the villain. I'll say Belloc for best villain. But it's not by much, because I love all three. And then the worst is obviously Dennis from Dial of Destiny, whose name I recently actually learned. I learned what his actual name is, and it actually made me more annoyed because his name is Voller, or however you say it, which is just the name of the villain from Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings video game on the Wii. Apparently the premise of Toy Story 5 was revealed. Was it, or is it just Tim Allen who said that's what he wanted it to be about? I don't know that Pixar has actually said anything definitively. I mean, I know there was a leak back in September, but I thought that leak was disproven. Or at least called into question. The Marvels and Pixar's Wish are terrible movies. I actually saw The Marvels and I didn't hate it. I mean, it's extremely... It's filled with issues. Like, I could talk extensively about its issues for a while. It's, it doesn't flow together very well, and, like, they'll go from an emotional scene between two of the characters to a more chipper scene between those same characters who don't seem to acknowledge... Like, it feels like scenes that are stitched together without trying to create a cohesive, smoothly flowed experience, if that makes sense. There's obviously some silly things, some things in the final act that aren't set up well at all. Like the entire thing with the cat. No spoilers, but you know what I mean when I say in the final act, Goose the cat and what happens with that. It's, it comes out of nowhere and raises a lot of questions I don't think they're ready to answer. And there are some character arcs and emotional beats that feel really rushed. The CGI is probably at its worst compared to all the Marvel movies I've seen. Plenty of You Should Be Dead moments, but... I mean, Miss Marvel... I'm probably gonna mispronounce this name. Iman Vellani. I probably said that wrong, but she's the standout performer. You can tell she actually cares about this world and these characters, and she has a tremendous amount of passion for that role. I like the dynamic the three characters had. The first big action scene was really, really, really good. And the concept of having their powers force them to switch places is a nice way to try to power balance a hero like Captain Marvel, who's just hilariously overpowered. Because like, that's what I was thinking about. It's like, how can you make a sequel to that movie when at the end of the first movie it ends with her unlocking her powers and revealing that she was powerful all along? Like, how can you have her be the star of a story when she basically can't be killed by anything or anyone and she's that powerful? And the Marvels tries to account for that by having it such that she's hindered by her teammates, and that kind of plays into the idea of working together as a part of a team. Now, none of that works very well. Like I said, the actual arcs they try to do with the characters is very rushed, and it doesn't really end in a satisfying way. But at least I can see what they were playing at there. As for Wish, I don't know anything about Wish. I'm not expecting great things, but it'll probably be like Strange World last year, where it's bad, but in a way that makes you forget it. Like, not offensively bad, but boringly bad, in that none of it's working properly, and it's all just falling apart at the seams. But also, it doesn't do it in a way that generates any level of an emotional reaction out of you. It's just, you're just sitting there stone cold, blank face, just waiting for the credits to roll, which is what I was with Strange World last year. I wanted to leave so badly when I saw Strange World last year. I forgot everything that happened in it almost as soon as I walked out of the theater. It's such a nothing film. Anyway, I think we're gonna wrap things up here, because that's pretty much all I have to say about this. We've finished up the game. I love this game. Always have. Always will. I don't think it's ever going to be dethroned as my favorite game of all time. And if you haven't played it, I cannot recommend it enough. And if you want to hear me talk extensively about... Oh, guess I tabbed out. Didn't want to do that. Oh well. If you want to hear me talk extensively about how much I love it, I'm pulling up a link. You can check this video out. And that video is my hour-long praise for Dragon's Den 3D and talking about how well all the mechanics work and the reasons why I love it so much. So, if you want, you can check that out. If you want to play the game for yourself, I highly recommend it. And other than that, I think I'm going to wrap things up here. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you've been watching my stuff today since the beginning when the first Little Mermaid commentary premiered, I admire your endurance for sticking it out this long, or if you just came into this stream towards the very end, I still am glad you decided to come out today. Hopefully you all having a good weekend so far. I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. And any last... Let me see if there's any last questions I can answer before I go. Which Guardians of the Galaxy movie is my favorite? I don't think I can decide between the first and the second one, because the first one is more consistently good, whereas the second one has higher highs and lower lows. Gun to my head, I'd say the first one. Thoughts on Secret Invasion? Haven't seen it. Am I gonna see Wish knowing critics are saying it's bad? I mean, critics have said things are bad before, and I've enjoyed them. It's happening with the Marvels right now. I mean, I still would not defend Marvels as a good movie, but it's better than I thought it was going to be. Plus, I'm sure, if the Inside Out trailer is any indication, I'm sure I'm gonna get inundated with people asking me what I think about Wish after it comes out, so I kind of have to see it. Just to brace myself for that. Yeah. Typed in Dragon's Den 3D in your search bar, goes freaking online casino. Yeah, because the people who made this game got shut down, the website is also gone, and so someone swooped up the domain and replaced it with something that very clearly is not this game. So don't go to that website. I cannot verify its safety. I would steer clear. Am I gonna play it again when it's 22 years old? Probably. I like to stream this game once per year. Just because I love it so much. Oh, you meant of the characters? Oh, of the characters... Interesting question. I think probably either Rocket or Nebula would be my answer. Off the cuff, without really giving it much thought. That's where my instincts went immediately. Think of Disney's near future. You're not very optimistic. I hope, I mean, it's clear that the Disney that I grew up with is not the Disney that exists right now, so I don't really have much respect, if I actually know. At this point, I can say I have no respect for Disney as a corporation, but there are still a lot of talented artists working at Disney, and like, I've been loving, because like, Haley's on It is a show that's airing right now, and I really like Haley's on It. Obviously, the Owl House came out, and that's like... That consumed my life when I was watching it for the first time, and still sort of does to an extent, because of me still trying to get the video through copyright. So the output of Disney creatively is still something that I respect and I hope to see improve, but as a corporation, I have zero respect for Disney whatsoever, and they've dug their own grave as far as I'm concerned. And did I see the Fairly Odd Parents episode with the Magic Muffin? Maybe. I don't know. I think I saw most of the first 9 seasons. I think I saw all the first 9 seasons as a kid. So if it's in there, I probably saw it, I just don't remember it. Okay, and before I get too inundated with questions I don't have enough time to answer, I am going to call things off. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Okay, fine. One last one. What footage do I use when I say who wrote this? It is from Season 5, Episode 2 of Suits. Last question. I'm done now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming out to the stream. Hopefully you enjoyed this, whether you've been here since The Little Mermaid or just for the stream or just towards the end. Thanks for spending your time today watching my stuff. Hopefully I was able to entertain you. Hopefully you have a good rest of your weekend, and I'll see you soon for whatever it is you decide to watch next. Have a good day, everybody.